Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Woodbine Mohawk Park. Greg Blanchard, great to have you with us this morning for another edition of COSA-TV at the Baby Races. And there's a look at the scene right now in Campbellville, Ontario. We've had some heavy rains earlier this morning, but at least at this point it has subsided. There is more rain in the forecast. Overcast skies currently, and gusting winds, but nothing too extreme at this point in time, and the track looks pretty good as we get set for another set of baby races for you here this morning, again at Woodbine Mohawk Park. Again, Greg Blanchard, great to have you with us here on location just outside the paddock area, and we will be with you all morning long. 10 races in total today. The boys are featured today, all on the pace. 2-year-old colt pacers in all 10 races here this morning. Before we get started, we want to remind you that coming up once again this season, we'll have another edition of our COSA-TV Facebook Live series. And we will be announcing some of the dates covering special event race days throughout the province this season. And it will kick off next Sunday from Clinton Raceway with this year's edition of the Kin Pace. They have eliminations scheduled for tomorrow afternoon, setting up that final, and we will be there to cover that live to kick off our Facebook Live series for 2020. And we are excited about that once again this year on COSA-TV. Got some high-profile youngsters getting set to square off here this morning, and got some high-priced tagged individuals as well. There's a look at the 6-figure babies that we will see in action this morning. Headlined by Dean B. Hanover, a $340,000 Harrisburg purchase last fall. He's one of several sent out by Stallion Betting Line here this morning from the Some Beach Somewhere mare Delhi Beach. Casey Coleman will unveil that pupil as part of a 10 strong brigade here this morning. We're going to see from her stable. Marlborough Sealster, highest priced yearling in Canadian history. He'll be back out for a third qualifier today. Beachhead, another one from the Casey Coleman entourage this morning, a $225,000 Lexington purchase. He's a son of Some Beach Somewhere from the great producing mare Precious Beauty. Twin B Edge, Amy Hanover, and Mythic Gambler, all $100,000 plus yearlings that we will see on display as part of our 10-pack here this morning. Our poll question to get us started today. Get your thinking caps on, and you can tell us what you think. I think it's a good one. We want to know which of these great stallions has had the biggest impact on Canadian racing. That's a tough one, and I think it would be tough to pick between these two. On the trotting side, Cadabra. On the pacing side, the late Cam Luck. Want to know which of these two you think has had the greatest impact on Canadian racing. We want to hear from you today as well. If you're watching, let us know where you're tuning in from this afternoon. If you got any comments or questions, you can leave those for us as well. And everyone who does so will be entered into that random draw for a $250 Amazon gift card pack. Compliments of our friends at hoofbid.com, the new online standardbred auction service. Hoofbid.com partnering with us once again. They've been with us all weekend long. Everyone who commented both yesterday and today on the broadcast will be eligible for that draw. We'll draw that following today's show, and we'll post the winner online for that Amazon gift card pack. Compliments of hoofbid.com. All right now we'll welcome in the gentleman who will be helping me out here this morning and calling the action once again, Mark McKelvey. Mark, a really wild morning here weather-wise prior to today. The good news is the sun is peeking out right now, and it's pretty warm when it does so. So the rain likely going to just make for a faster track here, I would say, this morning. Before we get to that, though, how about maybe just your quick thoughts on last night, our first look at 2-year-old filly pacers right here at this venue in OSS action.
Yeah, we got our first look there last night, like you mentioned, and Exciting to finally get the Ontario Sire Stakes season going. Some nice performances. We also had 2-year-olds in action last night. So it was one of those busier nights that had been building up in the last several weeks. I think for those that have been tuning in throughout our baby race coverage over the last few weeks, you were rewarded by seeing a couple of the standouts from those mornings.
Okay, it looks like we're having some audio issues with Mark right now, so we'll work on getting those rectified. As mentioned, it's the boys in action today. All 10 races coming your way this morning will feature 2-year-old colt and gelding pacers and some very high-profile individuals, as mentioned. Some high-priced yearlings will be in action as well. There's a look at Highland Beach Best, the first one we're going to see coming from our paddock location. That one, a son of Some Beach Somewhere, from the Rock and Roll Hanover mare Rockin' Highland. Good looking individual, as you can see. Sylvain Filion will be back on board for trainer Amanda Fine. This one owned by Highland Thoroughbred Farm. And Marty Fine, and was a winner a week ago in qualifying action. Kicked home from off the pace to score in 1:57 and 2, using 26 and 3 final quarter speed to score on that morning. This one is a sibling to Highland Beachy Cove, Some Beach Somewhere, that still races regularly on this circuit, a $260,000 winner. The second dam, Armbro Ophelia, has had quite a production record. She's produced 8 winners of 100,000 or more, including Armbro Animate and Artistic Vision. Armbro Animate, $1 million winner. So Highland Beach Best, not shocking to see that one looking good a week ago. And we'll try and make it a second consecutive qualifying win here this morning. There's a look at 2. Kiyukwat, a sports writer who was 3rd last week in the debut for Team McNair. A good solid 3rd. A couple of doors down from that one this afternoon is going to be Bulldog Hanover, a shadow play colt, making his first trip behind the gate for trainer Jack Darling. Jody Jameson will drive that one. The mare BJ Squall, $270,000 winner in her career. She's already produced Blaze MM Hanover, a winner of close to $500,000 in his career. Captain of Rock and Roll will be back. Casey Coleman Herlihy with a starter in all 10 of our qualifying races here this morning. And Captain of Rock and Roll was another who was victorious a week ago. Very impressive, the son of Captain Treacherous, coming from far out of it at the halfway point to win by 3 in 1:56 and 3. And he kicked home with 26 and 3 final quarter speed to seal the deal on that day. So it's a good-looking group here, very intriguing group for qualifier number 1. Some of these we've already seen in action, and a couple that we'll be getting our first look at here today. We talked about Bulldog Hanover being one of those. Number 5, Tapestry, is the other, son of Betting Line. Bob Burgess of Cedar Valley has bred this one, retains ownership. Carmen Osiello Training, he had the mare Twin Bee's Sweetheart, who was a pretty good race mare for his stable. And this is her first foal as well. Let's head up to Mark quickly for his thoughts here as we get set to kick things off.
Well, good morning, everybody. Back for another morning of baby race action here at Woodbine Mohawk Park, and the starting gate is rolling for our first of 10 here on this Saturday. It's all 2-year-old pacing colts and geldings. We have no changes when it comes to scratches in our first qualifier. One note, James McDonald drives number 3, Mr. Charisma. Here is the field. Number 1, Highland Beach Best, Some Beach Somewhere colt out of a Rock and Roll Hanover mare. Highland Thoroughbred Farm and Marty Fine share ownership. Amanda Fine trains. Sylvain Filion will drive. 2, Kiyukwat is a sports writer colt out of a Some Beach Somewhere mare, owned by Clay Horner, David Wilmot, and Scott Horner, trained by Greg McNair. Doug McNair drives. Number 3, Mr. Charisma, Better Than Cheddar colt out of the Ponderosa mare, Hut Racing Stable, Vaco Puhunen, Daniel Davis, and Penny of Hope Stables share ownership. Blake McIntosh trains. James McDonald will drive. $20,000 Lexington buy. Ford's Bulldog Hanover. Shadow Play Colt out of an Arts Place mare. Jack Darling Stables Limited owns. Jody Jameson drives for Darling. A $28,000 Harrisburg purchase. 5 is Tapestry, a homebred for Robert Burgess, trained by Carmen Osceola. Jonathan Drury drives the Son of Betting Line out of a Mach 3 mare. Captain of Rock and Roll is the 6, a Captain Treacherous Colt out of a Rock and Roll Hanover mare. Bob Hamather is the owner breeder. Casey Coleman Hurley, he trains. Bob McClure will drive. $50,000 Harrisburg grad. 7, Adrenaline Rush is a Royal Majesty gelding out of a Badlands Hanover mare. The stable Adrenaline Rush owns. Kevin McMaster trains. Anthony McDonald drives. And 8, You Can't Touch This, Control the Moment Colt out of an Art Major mare, Dustin Jones Stables. And Diane Lapine are the owners. Dustin Jones trains, and Chris Christoforou does the driving. And they're off and pacing here in our first qualifier this morning at Woodbine Mohawk Park. And we're going to give the first call to Adrenaline Rush, who is out to the early lead for Anthony McDonald. It's Adrenaline Rush to claim the top spot heading into the first turn. At the rail, that is Highlands Beach Best, who's going to get away in second. Captain of Rock and Roll settles in third in front of Keoquat in fourth. Then moving into fifth, that is You Can't Touch This in front of Mr. Charisma. Bulldog Hanover, and the last one is Tapestry. Opening quarter was 31 seconds flat, and Philion wants the top spot, so Highlands Beach Best goes around and is the leader. They move into the backstretch. It's Highlands Beach Best, the Some Beach Somewhere Colt, leading the way. In second is Adrenaline Rush. Then racing third, Captain of Rock and Roll. He's getting a little bit closer. Break of about 4 lengths going to Keoquat in fourth. Follow fifth by You Can't Touch This. Sixth is Mr. Charisma. Then seventh is Bulldog Hanover, and Tapestry is at the rear of the field. The half is hit in 59 and 1, so they did some pacing there in the second quarter. It was 31 seconds in the opening split. 28 and 1 in that second quarter. And now as we go into the far turn, Highland Beach Best is opening up a 5-6 length advantage here as they go by 5/8. Racing in second is Adrenaline Rush. Third is Captain of Rock and Roll. Keoquat in fourth. Advancing on the outside, Mr. Charisma into fifth. Inside sixth, You Can't Touch This, Bulldog Hanover, and Tapestry. 3 quarters, 126 and 3. 27 and 2. Third quarter there from Highland Beach Best, and Highland Beach Best is looking to seal the deal here on top by a half dozen lengths. Captain of Rock and Roll, though, has a target, and Captain of Rock and Roll is coming on now for McClure. The lead is shrinking a little bit. Philion calling upon Highlands Beach Best to finish it off. Here comes Captain of Rock and Roll on the outside. They're into deep stretch. Captain of Rock and Roll, is he going to get there? Very tight. It's a photo finish between Highlands Beach Best and Captain of Rock and Roll. 155 and 3.
Very impressive first qualifier of the day. Highland Beach Best, the son of Some Beach Somewhere, trying to hold on against a relentless Captain of Rock and Roll who chased him right to the finish and got right up into the win photo. That could go either way, and Mark will get that result for us here in a moment. But Mark, there you go, 55 and 3 off a very pedestrian opening quarter. It's impressive. I think you have to give high marks to both colts. And boy, this Captain of Rock and Roll we've seen in 2 qualifiers now. He loves to chase a target.
He certainly does. He was coming on there, and I really didn't have any doubts that he wasn't going to make it at least really close. Highland Beach Best really took off there in the middle half. Second qualifier, and I wonder sometimes for the trainers and the drivers when they get to an opening quarter, in a time like that, 31 seconds, and especially being your second go-around, you want to go a little more. And Philion got this Some Beach Somewhere colt going, and he really got rocking there in the middle half. And Highland Beach Best almost holds on. We'll find out in a second if he did hold on. I'll get the results here, but a good opener to get us going. 155 and 3. I'm going to say the track from all that rain, like you said, might have just made it even a little quicker, especially the sun has been coming out a little bit, and it's pretty warm.
Yeah, I think it'll just get better. If we don't get more rain, I think it'll get better here as the morning goes on. So final 3 quarters in that qualifier, a very snappy 124 and 3. And yeah, great way to kick off the morning. So we'll let Mark go and get that finish order for us and the result, and we'll pass that along to you in a moment. In the meantime, let's give you a look at the field page for qualifier number 2, which is coming up here in a moment. Another field of 8 in this spot. And Casey Coleman Hurley with another starter who we saw a week ago in Springbridge Duel. That's your post 3 starter, son of Big Jim. one of the few Ontario breds that she has in the stable this year, and went to Big Jim at last year's fall sale. Collared this guy for $40,000 and looked very good last week. Another one similar to the stablemate we just saw, who closed from well out of it, just missed finishing second, but did fire home in 26-1 on that day, and polished his mile off in 156-1 individually. This one from a Mach 3 mare in Stonebridge Damsel. There's a look at the competitors from the first making their way back into the paddock, and we just saw Highland Beach Best. He's a flashy looking son of some beach somewhere, and we'll find out in a moment if indeed he did hold on for a second consecutive qualifying win, or whether he got picked off late by the hard-charging Captain of Rock and Roll. In the meantime, we've got the competitors for race 2 making their way out. There is the aforementioned Springbridge Duel, or the Casey Coleman Hurley He stable. A look there at number 2, Admit One, and that is one of 4 in this second race field that will be making the first appearance behind the starting gate. He's a Bettor's Delight colt from the powerful toy mare Free Admission, making him a sibling to the almost $300,000 winner Free Show. John Fielding of Toronto owns, Greg McNair training, and Doug McNair will be in the driver's seat behind this one. Sylvan Filion picking up a driving assignment here on number 1, Space Cowboy for Herb Holland. Was in action last week, the son of Better Than Cheddar. Raced evenly, finished 6th, and will be looking to certainly lower that time and better that result here this morning. Metallica, number 4, one of a quartet here that we did see a week ago in qualifying action and will be making the return here. A Shadow Play colt from Northern Luckmare Fade to Black, who was campaigned by Jack Darling, who also trains this colt. Jody Jameson will be in the driver's seat. So we'll get a look at them making their way out to the track, and I believe Mark has the results of that first qualifier.
Here are the results from the first qualifier, and in a photo, number 1, Highland Beach Best, was victorious by a nose over number 6, Captain of Rock and Roll. Here is the order of finish. Number 1, Highland Beach Best, was the winner. Number 2, Kyokwat, was 6th. Number 3, Mr. Charisma, 3rd. Number 4, Bulldog Hanover, 7th. Number 5, Tapestry, 8th. Number 6, Captain of Rock and Roll, was 2nd. Number 7, Adrenaline Rush, 5th. And number 8, You Can't Touch This, was 4th. 1, 6, 3, 7, 8, 2, 5, 4. Fractions 31, 59-1, 126-3, 155-3 for the winner. Number 1, Highland Beach Best. That's 2 consecutive baby race victories for this son of some beach somewhere. Out of the Rock and Roll Hanover mare Rockin' Highland, bred by Highland Thoroughbred Farm. Ownership of Highland Thoroughbred Farm and Marty Fine. Amanda Fine, the trainer. Sylvan Filion was in the sulky. New mark of 155-3 for Highland Beach Best.
Another look at the field for qualifier number 2 coming up. Another first-timer here, number 5, Bettor's Hope. A Bettor's Delight gelding from Hope for Patty, the Mach 3 mare. She was a good one. Career winner of well over $500,000. And this will be her first foal. Kevin McMaster trains this $40,000 yearling purchase for the stable Bettor's Hope of Guelph, Ontario. Anthony McDonald in the driver's seat behind this one this morning. Loyal Will, number 7's another first-timer. Blake McIntosh sends out this pupil. A Better Than Cheddar colt from Respected and Beloved, daughter of Dreamway. She was another regular here on the WEG circuit, and one that raced on or near the top level for much of her career here locally. And we'll see if this one is ready to go. At first asking, occupies post 7 here this morning. Starting gate rolling for the second of 10 from Woodbine, Mohawk Park.
Gate in motion for qualifier number 2. It's a field of 8 2-year-old pacing colts and geldings. Number 1, Space Cowboy, is a Better Than Cheddar colt out of a Rock and Roll Hanover mare. Vincenzo Strongis and Mike Pelosi share ownership. Herb Holland trains. Sylvan Filion drives. $14,000 Lexington buy. 2, Admit One is a Bettor's Delight colt out of a powerful toy mare. John Fielding owns. Greg McNair trains. Doug McNair drives. $50,000 Harrisburg purchase. 3, Springbridge Duel is a Big Jim colt out of a Mach 3 mare owned by Westwind Stable. Steve Heimbecker, Mark Kantrowitz, trained by Casey Coleman Herlihy. Bob McClure drives. $40,000 Harrisburg buy. 4, Metallica, Shadow Play colt out of a Northern Luck mare, owned and bred by Jack Darling Stables. Darling trains. Jody Jameson's in the sulky. 5 is Bettor's Hope, a Bettor's Delight gelding out of a Mach 3 mare. The stable Bettor's Hope owns. Kevin McMaster trains. Anthony McDonald drives. $40,000 Lexington buy. 6, Salzbrook Hero is a Better Than Cheddar colt out of a Some Beach Somewhere mare. Dustin Jones Stables owns. Jones trains. Chris Christopher drives. $18,000 London buy. 7 is Loyal Will, homebred for Winback Farm. Blake McIntosh trains. James McDonald drives his son a Better Than Cheddar of a Dream Away mare. And 8 is Lions Drinking a Bud, Sweet Lou colt out of a Cam's Card Shark mare. 3, Lions Racing owns. Mark Goddard trains. Trevor Henry drives this $12,000 Harrisburg purchase. And they're off-end pacing in qualifier number 2. And Metallica is out to the early lead. Second look at this son of Shadow Play, and he's going to front them to the opening quarter. Loyal Will is going to settle into the 2-hole. Springbridge Duel gets away in 3rd. On the outside, Salzbrook Hero is going to now drop into 4th. We'll settle in front of Space Cowboy, who is racing in 5th. Then 6th, as they go to the opening quarter, is Admit One, followed by Bettor's Hope, and Lions Drinking a Bud is the trailer. 31 and 3. Not a lot of speed in the opening quarter once again, but now they'll swing into the backstretch. And tightening up from in second is Loyal Will, getting right onto the back of Metallica. Metallica's going to see the lead now, handing it over to Springbridge Duel, who makes a second quarter rush to the top. Here's Springbridge Duel. And the son of Big Jim is now the new leader. Quickly to the lead for McClure. Metallica in second, then racing in 3rd is Loyal Will. Past the half in 101 and 2. So rookie pacers drive into the far turn. Racing in 4th, that is Salzbrook Hero. At 5th, Space Cowboy, who is followed by Admit One in 6th. Right on that one's back is Bettor's Hope, and Lions Drinking a Bud is the trailer. And wow, did this lead ever grow in the 3rd quarter here for Springbridge Duel. He is on top by close to 10 lengths coming to the 3/4 mile pole, and it will be Springbridge Duel at 3/4 in 1:28 and 4. Big 3rd quarter speed there as they'll turn for home, and it is all Springbridge Duel. Second qualifier for this son of Big Jim, and he paced home last week in 26 and 1, rallying to finish second. Here this morning, he's on the front end since the 2nd quarter, and he's coming home strong to win, looking good through the lane. Battle is on for second between Metallica and that Space Cowboy. Salzbrook Hero in 4th. Time of the mile, 1:56 and 3 for Springbridge Duel.
Great look there on the run-out shot of a strong Springbridge Duel. That's the way you want to see them close out a mile. And this son of Big Jim kind of does it all himself here this morning. Really, I thought, caught my attention last week with the 2nd place rallying effort in 26 and 1 on the end. And today, a little more aggressive in the early stages, threw up that big 27 and 2 3rd quarter to kind of seal the deal, and then polished it off with a 27 and 4 final quarter. So that's big back half speed for this guy. And again, I liked on the run out there, Mark, still going strong. So this son of Big Jim looks like he's ready to go, and I dare say, I don't want to make predictions, but I think he's ready for the golds. What do you think? Ready for the golds. What do you think?
Absolutely. I would think that's a gold level baby race here this morning. 55 and 1 back half, as you alluded to, calling the field there through that final turn. And all of a sudden I look back to the front, and that lead had just grown. He was really pacing strong. And sometimes I find in the qualifiers and even in baby races, when you got a horse that's on top by a ton, sometimes you get caught up just not realizing how much they're coming through the lane, or they don't look like maybe they're coming home as well. Or maybe they're coming home really strong. I just thought he had the look to him that he was doing that all on his own and just looked real impressive. Home in 27 and 4 over this track, which has been rated good, and they're going to say it's a second off to start this morning's action. So real good performance from Springbridge Duel, and that son of Big Jim looks like he's got some big potential for himself.
And Big Jim really making a name for himself, especially in the last year or two in the OSS program. It was funny talking to Casey last week. She said this wasn't a horse that they had their eye on particularly at the sale, but she realized at a certain point, I need some OSS competitors in the barn, potentially, or some OSS bred horses. So took a chance on this guy, liked the individual when she saw him, and hey, looks good so far. 55-1 back half to polish off that score. So thank you, Mark, and we'll catch up with you again in just a moment as we turn our attention now to qualifier number 3 of the morning. And there's a look at the field. Casey Coleman will unveil another youngster here, a son of Betting Line, named Sir Gene G. Hanover, an $87,000 yearling purchase from an unraced mare named So Brave Hanover. She, a daughter of Some Beach Somewhere, did not make it to the races, and this just her second foal. And we'll get our first look at Sir Gene G. Hanover in this spot. One of only 2 first-timers in this 8-horse field. The other 6 have all seen qualifying action to this point in time. Scott Young hopping aboard the other first-timer in the field, number 7 Highland Hot Sauce, a son of Sunshine Beach from the Western Terror mare Highland Western. This one a sibling to Highland Salsa, a 3-year-old son of Sports Writer. Said just a few starts to this point in his career, and coming off a 4th place finish recently at Hanover in the new Prospect Series. Another tier to the Ontario Sire Stakes program, finished 4th there in just his 2nd start of the season. So his younger sibling, Highland Hot Sauce, the son of Sunshine Beach, goes postward for the first time here. Field of 8 heading out to the track. We'll get back to that in a moment. Mark has the rundown from Qualifier 2 next.
Second qualifier this morning, here are the results. Number 1, Space Cowboy was 6th. Number 2, Admit One 5th. Number 3, Springbridge Duel, the winner. Number 4, Metallica was 2nd. Number 5, Better's Hope 7th. Number 6, Salzburg Hero 4th. Number 7, Loyal Will 3rd. And number 8, Lions Drinking a Blood was 8th. 6, 5, 1, 2, 7, 4, 3, 8. Fractions 31 and 3, 101 and 2. 128 and 4, 156 and 3 for the winner, Springbridge Duel. 55-1 back half for this son of Big Jim out of the Mach 3 mare Stonebridge Damsel, owned by Westwind Stable, Steve Heimbecker, and Mark Kantrowitz, trained by Casey Coleman Hurley. Bob McClure was in the sulky. Second qualifier now for Springbridge Duel, establishes a mark of 156 and 3. He was a $40,000 purchase at last fall's Harrisburg sale. First foal out of that Mach 3 mare, Springbridge Damsel, takes the second qualifier.
There's a look at number 8, Little Red Sports Star, Sports Writer Colt from the Rambaran mare Rambaran Star. Doug McNair was scheduled to drive. James McDonald will pick up the steer here for trainer Blake McIntosh. They're, I think, almost out onto the track here for qualifier number 3. As you can see, the rain holding off here. We had some heavy rains earlier this morning in the Campbellville area, but the track right now starting to dry out, and from what we've seen in the first couple of qualifiers, it's certainly none the worse for wear in terms of time. Again, want to quickly remind you, everyone who comments today on our coverage will be eligible for that draw for a $250 Amazon gift card pack, compliments of hoofbid.com. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear where you're tuning in from today. It's always interesting to see. We've had some people from overseas watching the last couple of weeks, and from throughout all over North America as well. I'd love to hear from you if you've got a question, anything at all. Love to hear from you, and again, you're entered for that draw. We'll be drawing following today's coverage. We want to thank hoofbid.com again for partnering with us. Want to thank the Central Ontario Standardbred Association as well, and Ontario Racing, along with the Woodbine Entertainment Group broadcast team for providing this coverage. They're getting set to assemble behind the gate. We'll bring in Mark once again here. And Sir Gene G. Hanover's another from the Casey Coleman stable, Mark, that we're going to see here. She promised we would like what we saw from her babies, especially her colt pacers, and so far so good today.
Certainly has been, and I know she mentioned about the A string coming out this weekend. Well, her first two we already saw last weekend, but they looked real good, so we'll see what this debuting Sir Gene G. Hanover has to say for himself, an $87,000 Harrisburg buy.
All right, starting gate is rolling. We'll turn it back up to Mark for the call of qualifier number 3.
Qualifier number 3, scratch number 2, Nelson Eddie Hanover. Scratch number 4, Beach Hunter. And take out number 5, Next Big Thing. Brings us down to a field of 5 for this third qualifier. Number 1 is Sir Gene G. Hanover, a betting line colt out of a Sun Beach Somewhere mare, West Wind Stable. Brad Grant, Teresa Davidson, Steve Heimbecker share ownership. Casey Coleman Hurley he trains. Bob McClure drives. $87,000 Harrisburg buy. 2 is out. 3 is Desperado, a well-said gelding of an Art Major mare. The stable Desperado Group owns. Anthony McDonald trains and drives. $9,500 Goshen yearling sale buy. 4 and 5 are out. 6 is Watch My Beverage, a He's Watching colt out of a Dragon Again mare. Dean Lockhart, Jeffrey Ruck, Paul Hawman share ownership. Greg McNair trains. Doug McNair will drive. 7, Highland Hot Sauce, Sunshine Beach colt out of a Western Terror mare, owned and bred by Highland Thoroughbred Farm, trained by Amanda Fine. The driver is Scott Young. And 8 is Little Red Sports Star, sports writer colt out of a Ram Baron mare, homebred for Dan and Kim Sargent. Blake McIntosh trains. James McDonald does the driving. Field of 5 for qualifier number 3 on gate, picking up speed, and here they come. And they're off and pacing. Right to the pylons goes Desperado. From the outside, Little Red Sports Star is going to push ahead for James McDonald out to the early lead. And the son of sports writer will front this group of 5 to the opening quarter. Desperado second. Watch My Beverage slides into third in front of Sir Gene G. Hanover. And then it is Highland Hot Sauce. That's how they're lined up. And the group of 5 heads towards the opening quarter here. Low Red Sports Star in his second qualifier takes them past the opening panel in 30 and 3. Moving into the backstretch, Low Red Sports Star on top by a length and a half. Right on his back in second is Desperado. Maybe that one will go on, or it'll just be comfortable to track the leader. Third, Watch My Beverage. Fourth is Sir Gene G. Hanover. And then fifth is Highland Hot Sauce. Sports Writer Colt showing the way. Low Red Sports Star over the well-said gelding Desperado. Then it's back to the He's Watching Colt. Watch My Beverage. Sir Gene G. Hanover, a son of betting line, and his qualifying debut is in fourth. And then fifth is the Sunshine Beach Colt Highland Hot Sauce. 1 minute and 2/5 is the half-mile clocking. That was 29 and 4 in the second quarter. Driving into the far turn, it's a Low Red Sports Star continuing to show the way. 5/8 now complete. Low Red Sports Star ramping it up a notch here. Lead begins to grow. Desperado now is 2.5 lengths away in second. Then in third is Watch My Beverage. Sir Gene G. Hanover is back there fourth, followed by Highland Hot Sauce. 1:28 and 3, turning for home off of a 28 and 1 third quarter is Little Red Sports Star, who begins to drift out. Little Red Sports Star with 1/8 of a mile to go, maybe about to hand over the lead, because shooting through the middle, here comes Watch My Beverage. Desperado at the inside is battling tough as they're coming to the edge of the tote board. It's Watch My Beverage in the middle. Little Red Sports Star still battling and still hanging in there, and as they come to the line, Watch My Beverage and Little Red Sports Star, they're together. Desperado was third, Sir Gene G. Hanover was fourth, and Highland Hot Sauce fifth. 1:57 and 1, another tight finish.
You said it, Mark. Another good finish there in race number 3. It looked like Watch My Beverage hung on. Splits rivals late, and the son of He's Watching. A diminutive youngster, like He's Watching was himself, from the Dragon Again mare Bonton Hanover. A big improvement over last week, considering the horse made a miscue at the start a week ago and really took himself out of that one, but was charted with a 26 and 4 final quarter on that occasion, so got something out of the qualifier, and obviously took a big step forward here today and handled much better. 57 and 1. Little Red Sports Star drifting wide in the home stretch, but maybe just some greenness there, because the horse did seem to fight back once he saw a horse closing on his inside.
Yeah, I wasn't exactly sure what Low Red Sports Star was going to do there in the final eighth, especially with how far that he was coming out. But as they came to the line, he was right there. He dug in, he battled. And I'd say for those top three, whether that's Desperado, Watch My Beverage, or Low Red Sports Star, all a real good improvement off of their last qualifying effort. And that's what their connections want to see. So I'd say for the most part, everyone's going to come out of that one pretty happy with what they got. Sir Gene G. Hanover, not sure what you maybe want to read into that qualifier. Wasn't exactly keeping up to the top three, but again, maybe just doing things on his own. First time out, it's all a new experience. So again, it's funny how we want to read a lot into these, and at the same time, maybe you just can't.
Absolutely right, and that's what it's all about. Tweaking and finding things that you can improve on from week to week, and they obviously did that with Watch My Beverage, and that one certainly has an engine to him, and we'll see if he can continue that progression when he hits pari-mutuel action. We're not sure if they'll go again with him or drop him in. That's another question that only the conditioners can answer following these qualifying races. So we'll check in with Mark again in a moment. He'll give you the rundown, the complete finish order from that third race momentarily, as we turn our attention now to qualifier 4. There's Avion Seelster. I've been interested to watch this guy return this week. Beautiful looking son of sports writer. He looked like he was well on his way to a victory in his first qualifier last week, and then made a mistake in the late stages. And hard to really pinpoint what happened based on just watching the race. It looked like he may have been just trying to switch gears late to battle other rivals, and got a little bit out of gear and made a miscue, and ultimately finished third, but had looked fantastic up to that point in that 156 miles. So we'll see if that son of sports writer can bounce back here. He was an $80,000 a yearling last fall. Jack Darling Training and Jody Jameson will be back on board him today. Here another mix of some first-timers along with others who have faced the starting gate before. And in this qualifier, when you look at all 10 today, this is one where the majority of the horses starting today will be doing so for the first time. So it will be the debut. In fact, the only one that in this group that has qualified, the only two I should say, and Rito Sunshine, this one who finished 8th and was well beaten last time out. So they're certainly going to want to see turnaround there and some improvement in form in that one. And we're getting a look at Rito Sunshine just making his way out from the paddock location. Just directly in front of that one is Amy Hanover, or sorry, that is in fact Shazam Blue Chip, the 8. Bob McClure driving here for Luke Blais. They're going to team up with this Shadow Play colt from the Camluck mare Michelle Song, owned by Determination of Montreal, Quebec. So another good-looking group there is the aforementioned Shazam Blue Chip. Let's go back up to Mark, and he'll give us the lowdown on the rundown from Qualifier 3.
Order of finish from the third qualifier. Number 1, Sir Gene G. Hanover was 4th. Number 2 was scratch. Number 3, Desperado 3rd. Numbers 4 and 5 were scratch. Number 6, Watch My Beverage, the winner. Number 7, Highland Hot Sauce 5th. And number 8, Low Red Sports Star was 2nd. 4, scratch, 3, scratch, scratch, 1, 5, 2. Fractions 30 and 3, a minute 2 fifths, 128 and 3, 57 and 1 for the winner. Number 6, Watch My Beverage. He's watching colt out of the Dragon Again mare, Bonton Hanover. This here is a homebred for Dean Lockhart and Jeffrey Ruck. Also co-owned by Paul Hammond, trained by Greg McNair. Doug McNair was in the sulky. Second qualifier for Watch My Beverage, a big improvement this time around, going 157 and 1 to establish a mark for Watch My Beverage, the 4th foal out of that Dragon Again mare. Coming up next is the 4th qualifier.
And the starting gate is in motion, and it appears again that we may have a late scratch or two, but I'm not sure from this vantage point. No, in fact, it looks like all 8 are out there, but we'll let Mark confirm that as he's got the call of the next qualifier.
Here we go for the 4th qualifier. One note, Jonathan Drury drives number 6, Amy Hanover. Here is the field. Number 1 is Better Attitude, gelded son of Better's Delight out of a Western Hanover mare. Owned by Robert McIntosh Stables, Dave Boyle and Mardon Stables, trained by Bob McIntosh. Trevor Henry drives. 2, Avion Sealster, sports writer colt out of the Pantarosa mare. Jack Darling Stables Limited owns. Darling trains. Jody Jameson drives. $80,000 London buy. 3, Armor Sealster is a Better's Delight colt out of a Real Artist mare. 187-6472 Ontario Inc. Rolling Hills Racing Stables. Andrea Candido and Rhonda Sims are the owners. Blake McIntosh trains. Louis Watt drives. $95,000 London purchase. 4, Streak Sonova is a big Jim gelding out of an Arts Place mare. Raymond Primo is the owner along with Mike Rivet. Rivet trains. Mike Saftik drives. Next up in the field is 5, Stonebridge Rex. This is a Control the Moment colt out of an Arts Place mare. Angie Stiller, Greg McNair, and Gary Coulter share ownership. Greg McNair trains. Doug McNair drives. $8,000 Harrisburg buy. 6, Amy Hanover's a betting line colt out of a Dragon Again mare. Westwind Stable, Steve Heimbecker, Michael Cote-Gagnon, and Kevin McKinley share ownership. Casey Coleman Hurley, he trains. Jonathan Drury drives. $100,000 Harrisburg buy. 7, Rito Sunshine, a gelded son of Sunshine Beach out of an Estrellas mare. The stable Rito Sunshine owns. Anthony McDonald's a trainer driver. And 8, Shazam Blue Chip is a gelded son of Shadow Play out of a Camluck mare. Determination owns. Luke Blade trains, and Bob McClure drives this $55,000 Harrisburg purchase. So they're off and pacing in qualifier number 4. Avion Sealster is out to the early lead. Rito Sunshine had some good early speed and is going to drop into second in front of Stonebridge Rex in third. Getting away in fourth is Amy Hanover. Then in fifth, as they drive into the turn, is Streak Sonova. Opening quarter 29-2. So field of 8 moving into the backstretch. Avion Sealster is the leader. Second is Rito Sunshine. Out from third now. Here comes Stonebridge Rex underway for McNair. Fourth is Amy Hanover, followed fifth by Streak Sonova. Then it is Armor Sealster. Seventh is Better Attitude. And the trailer 8th is Shazam Blue Chip. New leader here in the second quarter. Stonebridge Rex goes third to first. And the debuting Control the Moment colt Stonebridge Rex will take them past the half in 59 seconds flat. So as they go towards the far turn, it's a lead of 1.5 lengths here for Stonebridge Rex. The early leader, Avion Sealster, is sitting right on the leader's back there in the 2-hole, followed closely third by Rito Sunshine. Then it's a break of about 4 lengths going back to Amy Hanover in fourth. Fifth is Streak Sonova. Racing sixth is Armor Sealster. Seventh is Better Attitude. And Shazam Blue Chip is eighth. And as they go towards 3/4, a little bit of difficulty there for Amy Hanover, who ends up in the safety lane. And we had a breaker at the back that was Armor Sealster. 3/4, 128-2. Up at the front here, this is Stonebridge Rex. Stonebridge Rex still leading the way by 1.5 lengths. McNair calls upon him right now just to pick it up in the final 8th. Looking to comp the inside will be Avion Sealster, and then Rito Sunshine is back there in third. Coming towards the edge of the tote board. Another good finish here. Up the inside, Avion Sealster to win. Second was Stonebridge Rex. Third goes to Rito Sunshine. Then it was Streak Sonova, followed by Shazam Blue Chip. Better Attitude, Armor Sealster, and Amy Hanover. 157-2 for Avion Sealster.
Avion Sealster getting it done in his second qualifier at 157-2. The good news is he's a winner. He keeps it together, but still right about the same spot mark, I would say. Just when he got clearance, whether it's greenness or what the issue is, he just got a little bit fumbly gated for a moment or so. I wondered if he was going to make another miscue, but then he hit his from there. I think this is a colt that's got exceptional talent, and whenever they get this small issue ironed out, watch out, I think, for Avion Sealster. What do you think?
I would agree with that. I thought the exact same thing coming through the lane, and that's a case of I think it's not a great. You don't want to have any issue when a horse has that greenness. You'd love if everything was perfect, but that's not the case. But I think, to your point, they see so much potential. There's clearly that ability there. So these are clearly issues that a veteran trainer and one of Jack Darling's status that has had so much success will be able to iron out. And I'm looking forward to seeing this son of sports writer once he gets under the lights, because like you said, I think he does have some real good ability. Stonebridge Rex, not a bad debut for that son of Control the Moment, and we've kept our our eye on the first crop of control at the moment. Doug McNair wanted to put him on the lead in the second quarter, and there in the stretch drifts out a little bit, but again, battles in there and gets beat probably about a neck. So not a bad performance for a debut there.
Couldn't agree more, and control the moment. You said it. We've talked about him. We've only seen a limited number of his offspring here, and really we've liked every one of them we've seen. They all look like they're going to be prominent. So speaking again to the depth of the Ontario Sire Stakes program here as we look forward to that 2020 season, which is now underway. Let's turn our attention to Qualifier 5 next, and here in the 5th, we've got another field of 8 scheduled to go postward. A couple that we're going to see for the first time certainly will be ones that we focus our attention on here. Number 5, Dr. Joe, is one of them. Something incredible, the mare. She was an Intrepid Sealster mare campaigned by Bob McIntosh, and a very good performer for him. $334,000 career winner in just 33 lifetime starts, and so far her production record has been good from I believe 4 foals at this point in time. Her first one was That's Incredible, winner of almost $200,000, and then more recently she's got a youngster that's been, I think, getting some notice here on the local circuit. His name is Beyond Better, a Better's Delight, full brother to Dr. Joe. And Beyond Better has looked good. Only 4 career starts for this one, 3 wins and a runner-up finish. The runner-up finish came most recently here at Woodbine Mohawk Park, just beaten in 52-3 on that occasion. So Beyond Better showing good things, and the younger sibling, Dr. Joe, will be going postward here. There's Gold Train for Paul Davies. Paul Davies is relocated to Arthur, Ontario, and the son of State Treasurer from the American Ideal mare 2 Ideal. Was a winner from last week's qualifying session in 157 and was strong with a 27-second final quarter to win on that occasion. He'll be back out for a second consecutive helping of qualifying action here this morning. Here's a look at all the starters making their way to the track, and Mark will give us the rundown of race 4, the 5th, as we hit the midway point coming up next.
Here's the order of finish from qualifier number 4. Number 1, Better Attitude was 6th. Number 2, Avian Sealster was the winner. Number 3, Armor Sealster 7th. Number 4, Streaks Nova 4th. Number 5, Stonebridge Rex was 2nd. Number 6, Amy Hanover 8th. Number 7, Rito Sunshine 3rd. And number 8, Shazam Blue Chip was 5th. 617, 42, 835 is your order of finish. Fractions 29 and 2, 59 flat, 128 and 2, 157 and 2 for number 2, Avian Sealster, a sports rider colt out of the Panda Rosa mare Aqua Rosa, owned by Jack Darling Stables Limited, trained by Jack Darling. The driver was Jody Jameson. $80,000 purchase at last fall's London yearling sale. And Avian Sealster, that was his second qualifier, made a miscue in the first qualifier, ended up finishing 3rd here this morning, does keep it together to establish a mark of 157 and 2. Coming up next is the 5th qualifier, and a reminder, there will be a break following qualifier number 5.
And as mentioned, the Ontario Sire Stakes season for 2020 now just getting underway. While we have a moment, I believe we have a schedule of some of the upcoming events. So on June 28th, this Sunday night, tomorrow evening in fact, Gold Series for 3-year-old colt trotters makes its first stop of the season at Georgian Downs in Innisfil, Ontario. 3-year-old filly pacers on Monday night kick off the Gold Series right here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. And on July 1st, Canada Day, Grand River Raceway will host Grassroots Series action. That's a quick look at the early schedule of the Ontario Sire Stakes program for 2020. Visit their new revamped website at OntarioSireStakes.com for complete information. I want to remind you again, if you're tuning in today, if you've left a comment for us either today or yesterday on our broadcast, you're eligible for a draw following today's show for that Amazon gift card package valued at $250. Compliments of hoofbid.com. Check them out online for more details. The new online Standardbred Auction Service. Starting gate is now getting underway for qualifier number 5 as we hit the midway point of what has been a very entertaining Saturday morning session so far, and another intriguing group facing the starting gate here in qualifier 5. Here's Mark with the description.
Fifth qualifier, 2-year-old pacing colts and geldings taking their positions. It'll be a field of 8. Number 1 is Toonie Teen, a sports writer colt out of an Island Fantasy mare, homebred for Patty Jones, trained by Rod Boyd. The driver is Mike Saftick. 2 is Jolsey Hanover, a JK End of an Era colt out of a Camluck mare. Ellie Bale, John Pentland share ownership. Pentland trains, Bob McClure drives, $15,000 purchase at the Harrisburg yearling sale. 3 is Gold Train, a state treasurer colt out of an American Ideal mare. Paul Davies, Nicole Davies, John Chakeen, and Deborah Pinnell share ownership. The trainer-driver is Paul Davies. This was a $13,000 purchase at the Alberta Standardbred Horse Sale. 4 is Big Teddy, a Big Jim colt out of a Camluck mare. Ian Fleming and Greg McNair are the owner-breeders. Greg McNair trains, Doug McNair will drive. 5 is Dr. Joe, a Better's Delight gelding out of a Ponder mare. Robert McIntosh Stables, CSX Stables, Dave Boyle are the owner-breeders. Bob McIntosh trains, Trevor Henry drives. 6 is Touch 'em All Joe, Roll with Joe colt out of an Art Major mare. Brian Legge and David Legge are the owners. Ken Susi trains and Chris Christoffrey will drive. 7 is Somewhere in Verona, Some Beach Somewhere, colt out of a Western Terre mare. Petty Paw Stable, Ozzie McKay and Blake McIntosh, along with Jill's Landry, share ownership. McIntosh trains, James McDonald drives, $22,000 Harrisburg buy. And 8 is Line Drive Hanover, a betting line colt out of a well-said mare. Westwind Stable, Kevin McKinley, Mac Nickel, and J.L. Benson Stables share ownership. Casey Coleman Hurley, he's the trainer. Jonathan Drury drives, a $75,000 Harrisburg purchase. So they're off in pacing here in qualifier number 5, and towards the inside, Jolsey Hanover has a good start. Driving from the center and towards the outside, Somewhere in Verona, Line Drive Hanover, and splitting between rivals is Touch 'em All Joe. Third look for this youngster, and he is coming through looking to claim the top spot. So the field of 8 goes into the first turn, and here's Touch 'em All Joe. Inside second is Jolsey Hanover, and it looks like Somewhere in Verona is going to settle in third, 30-1 for the opening quarter. Let's check in with Gold Train, who gets away in 4th. Line Drive Hanover took a seat in 5th. Then it is Toonie Teen 6th. Into the backstretch, Big Teddy is 7th, and 8th is Dr. Joe. Coming out from 4th now, here comes Gold Train on the move, and also out from 2nd is Jolsey Hanover, so that'll put Gold Train 3 wide for a moment. They're going around Touch 'em All Joe, racing up towards the half. Gold Train on the outside. Jolsey Hanover now 2nd, and all of a sudden Touch 'em All Joe is in 3rd. The half was hitting 59-2. Good action there in the second quarter, and it's Gold Train looking for a second consecutive baby race score, and this son of state treasurer drives him into the far turn. Jolsey Hanover in 2nd, 2 lengths going back to Touch 'em All Joe in 3rd. Racing in 4th is Somewhere in Verona, being tracked closely 5th by Line Drive Hanover, and then it's a big gap going back to the final 3. Big Teddy, Dr. Joe, and Toonie Teen is backpedaling. 3/4 is next for Gold Train, who chugs along 127-1, 27-4 there in the third quarter. They're into the stretch. Gold Train, here comes Jolsey Hanover once again, and now revving up his Line Drive Hanover on the far outside. They're coming to the final 1/8 of the mile. Gold Train continues to battle at the inside. Short lead now for Jolsey Hanover. Line Drive Hanover is coming on the outside. They've got less than a 16th to go. It's Jolsey Hanover with the lead. Line Drive Hanover coming. Jolsey Hanover will win. Line Drive Hanover was 2nd. 3rd went to Somewhere in Verona. Then it was Gold Train over Touch 'em All Joe, Big Teddy, Dr. Joe, and Toonie Teen, 155-2.
Love that low pan camera shot, and you get a look at the youngsters well after the finish, and you get to see who's still alive and who's maybe had enough for this morning. Anyway, that's a good looking group. That is an attention-getting qualifier in my opinion. 56-second back half, 55-2, a good win time. Joel Sky Hanover, JK End of an Era. There's a name that we haven't heard too much of, but here's a youngster that's already turning heads. John Pentland, there's a guy that located, I believe he's still in Dorchester, and always seems to come up with one or two of these good horses every year that look like they're going to be players, and I think he's got another good one here on his hands. Had to be very impressed, though, with Line Drive Hanover. Big late rally into the fast final quarter, and even third place finisher somewhere in Verona, Mark. Big step up for him. Looked like he was kind of disengaged on the last turn and backing away on the inside. Then he re-rallies and closed with some late pace.
Yeah, it's a good way to describe it. That's something that you'll notice when you're calling a race, is that sometimes a horse that's not really on your radar, or you think is probably getting put away, then next thing you know, they're there coming towards the line. That was a good qualifier for him. I like seeing that action coming up to the half. You don't usually get that in any of these baby races, but obviously there was a bit of an agenda. Our winner gets out and moving there while Gold Train was on the go for Paul Davies. I thought that one had another good looking performance. He went a pretty good third quarter and maybe didn't have that much left in the lane, especially in deep stretch, but overall showing that they do have some ability, and that's a good action-packed qualifier to cap things off for our first half.
Absolutely. I like what we've seen so far from a few of these youngsters today, catching some attention. So thank you, Mark. We'll let you go take a little bit of a break, and we'll catch up with him in the back half. We're getting ready for our intermission now, and that gives us time to review our poll question today. If you're just joining us, lots of time to have your say on this. And as we get a look at the babies, the youngsters in action, you're looking for the next big thing on the racetrack. Of course, we're looking at stallion prospects, and two of the greatest in Canadian history have been Cadabra and Cam Luck. So we want to know, of these two, which one do you think has had the greatest impact on Canadian racing? We gave you the trotting stallion Cadabra and pacing sire Cam Luck as the two to choose from. Have your say, and we will recap the answers, or the voting on that, at the end of the show here this morning. So still the back half of the qualifying session left to come. 10 races in total this morning. We'll take a break here for about 45 minutes approximately. We'll run through some features with our valued partners here as well, and we'll also have some other information to pass along for you, hoping to catch up to some of the connections here during the break as well. And if we do, we'll join back in with that. So we will take a short break, and we'll be back with more in a moment. You're watching live coverage of the baby races from Woodbine Mohawk Park here on COSA-TV.
COSA, the Central Ontario Standardbred Association, proudly serving Ontario horse people with integrity and accountability. Collaborative, supportive, helping to ensure a vibrant harness racing industry. Lifetime membership is free, and there are many benefits. Become a new member today. COSA, representing the interests of horse people racing at Ontario racetracks. To find out more, visit COSAonline.com.
They're in the stretch of the Meadowlands pace. Dorso, Duro, Hanover, game first over. Courtly Choice off that cover has open road. Stay Hungry, full out on the outside in deep stretch. Courtly Choice inches clear. It's Courtly Choice, and the Buckeye Hall of Famer Dave Miller does it. Courtly Choice.
Well, when I was a kid, my dad had horses as a side part. We kept them at Dana Lloyd's place, so after school I'd go out and help out and doing everything. And I was in university, and I dropped out at Christmas and needed something to do, and I said to Dad that I'm going to go down to Windsor and race some horses, take some down. And he said okay. He thought I'd be done in 3 months, be home and be back in school and go into insurance and do it with him. Well, 20 some years later, I'm here sitting, and you know, we've done well, and I'm glad I did what I did. You couldn't have asked for a better place. You know, we had stabling right on the track, and that's where I met Mark. You know, Mark McDonald and I have been best friends for 20 some years, and you know, we started getting into younger horses, and getting into the babies really helped. We sort of found our niche that way. Claimers weren't in my game. You know, I didn't do as good with claimers as I've done with the babies. You know, and you start getting on a roll with the, you know, a couple cheap ones here and there, and you know, we paid $1,500, about 3 or 4 of them, and they went on to make $300,000-400,000. One was Bullet Point. She was our first big one. You know, we paid $1,500 for her, and she made close to $700,000, and from there it just, you know, mushroomed into more and more, and better and better. So we've got about a total of 75 horses in training. We've got 55 here, around 55, 56 here, and close to 20 in the States. Jessica Dose is my head trainer down there. Francis Dumichel is my head trainer up here. When I'm on the road at either stable, those two are in charge, and you know, we've got mostly all the babies up here at this time of the year, so there's 43 babies this year, and they're all up here with me. Jess has most of the racehorses down there for the winter time, so that we're not, you know, I can concentrate on the babies up here, and then I'll go down there every 2 to 3 weeks during the winter time to check on the racehorses and see how they are, and train the 3-year-olds that we have down there coming back. You know, it's a big operation, and it's a lot of long days and a lot of frustrating days, but you know, when stake season comes around, it seems to be all worth it right now.
It's Lather Up, Courtly Choice, Dorset Hanover with a rush, 3 of them across the track. Who's it going to be? It's Courtly Choice.
I think as a 2-year-old, we thought he could be a really nice horse. First time qualify, I mean, he qualified great. Training down, he was always a little lazy. Mike Pennington trained most of the time for me, because Mike gets a little more out of the lazy ones than me. He was a Mike was a big reason that horse made as much as he did. I'll give credit to the guys that work for me, the ones that take care of them. It was, you know, once we got behind the gate, he bravened up a little more, and then, you know, as a 2-year-old, he was sort of fumbly gaited and wasn't as good gaited as he was as a 3-year-old. And he really improved a lot from 2 to 3, but we could see that training back. He had set the track right as a 2-year-old and won some minor stakes, but we had paid him in all the major stakes as a 3-year-old because of his breeding, because he was Cheddar's brother and Ashley's big guy's brother, and we never gave up on him in that way. But as a 3-year-old training back, he was just a totally different horse. You could just see, like, he had lost the laziness, and he wanted to do it more. I remember James coming out and training him one day, and he told everybody in the driver's room that Blake's got a 3-year-old coming back training great. And everybody's like, you know, he'll just, when he gets to the races, he'll just be the same lazy horse, but he wasn't. And he just started, you know, he turned into be a, you know, just a dream horse for me, and something that I'll probably never achieve again, but, you know, very happy with him. Going into it, we drew the rail. I remember just thinking, oh my God, this, you know, we could win the jug. And then about 15 seconds into the elimination, I was just sick. You know, most people know I have a temper, and everybody probably thought I was throwing myself, but I wasn't. I was just like, are you kidding me? And I seen Dave get him back on stride, and then when he caught the field, I was like, well, you know, we could make the final here, and we could be 4th, you know. And Jess and I were standing beside each other, and so, you know, we could be 4th, you know. And then you're sitting there, and he's moving up, and then all of a sudden it was a photo, you know, coming to the wire of the elimination. You're like, holy Christ, we could have won that. And then there was the inquiry, and, you know, all the things that happened. We didn't know where we'd finish, and everybody told us that we were going to be placed 1st, and we were placed 2nd in the elimination, which was probably better because we didn't get the rail again, which, you know, he could make a break off the rail again and would have been lost. And then, you know, in the final there, it was just, you were just sitting there and you're just watching, down the backside, you know, I'm standing down at the gate there, down the backside, and I see him drifting out like 3 wide, and it was Jason McGinnis and Kirby McGinnis beside me, and I was like, we're done, you know, you're done. And then all of a sudden, he just kept going, and you're like, oh my God, we could win, and you're just screaming, you know, like I'm an emotional person. I scream, and I was yelling and screaming and swearing. And then he got up, you know, and you're just like, you hear Roger Houston say, and Courtly Choice is up, and you're like, oh my God, you know, it was just biggest day of my life. You know, like we'd won the pace earlier in the year, like don't get me wrong, like pace was unbelievable, and that was a big high. But to win the jug, you're just sort of like, oh my God, we just won Little Brown Jug. And it's just, everybody being there was just so much fun, you know, it's just great. The 4-year-old campaign, we were going to stud last year. When we got him to stud, his numbers weren't very good for breeding purposes. So he was originally, so we needed to geld him, not geld him, but remove the one ball that was up in the one testicle was up inside him. We decided to bring him back for next year and race him. So we raced him. Started out the year great. Win the first graduate. It was dominant. Dave said he's best he's ever been. He qualified great. We ship him back up here for the Confed Cup, and he doesn't make the final. Probably one of the biggest disappointments of my career. The Flammable Downs is right there. I grew up watching that race. I want to win that race more than anything I've ever wanted to win race like other than North American Cup. I know it sounds stupid, but it's a local race. It's a race that I grew up watching. I want to win that race. But he didn't make the final. I remember driving out, and Leanne and I were watching the feed on my phone, and we lost out on the draw. We tried to figure out what was wrong with him. He didn't race well for a couple of weeks. You know, we sent him back down the States, and he still wasn't himself. He was just sort of mediocre. And we came back up here for the pace, and we raced him twice in the Open, and he raced huge. 2 weeks in a row. You know, we just gave him a little time and gave him a little breather, and you know, he won the Open 2 weeks in a row, and he was just a different horse. And going to the pace, I thought, you know, we have a good shot. And then down the backside, James had him out of position, and I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, are you kidding me? Like, we're not going to get a check. Top of the lane, he flipped him off cover, and he was gone. I was just, to win a big race at home is just special, especially with like one of my good friends, James McDonald. You know, don't know, Dave's a great friend too, but you know, and give James a big, you know, that was probably one of his career highlights too. And for us both to win it, and after Dave picked off for McWicked, it was just so, it was a relief, you know, like we could breathe because we expected this horse to be a top horse this year. And then after that, it was more disappointment for the year. It was an up and down season, but he'll throw in a good one here and there, and it was just a weird year for him. He's a great horse. He always came up big in the big races, it seemed like. He just, you know, he had some health issues last year, and we couldn't get him straightened out the whole year. You know, we'd get his blood one way right the 1 week, and then he'd drop back down, and it was just a fight all year with him, with his blood. You know, now he's at stud. His numbers are really good after we removed the testicle. He's breeding this year, and he's got, you know, a book around 80 mares, and you know, hopefully we'll keep going forward, and he'll become a good sire.
Here on COSA-TV. Greg Blanchard, great to have you all watching in from all over the world here this morning. And we've got a special guest getting ready to join us now. Trainer John Pentland, who sent out Joel C. Hanover, a winner in Qualifier 5. Interesting, John, a son of J.K. Endevanera, Indiana bred. What's the background or what's the story behind the purchase of this one?
Well, I went to Harrisburg, to buy a pacing filly, an Ontario pacing filly. That's generally what I buy. And I had the mother, Jan's Luck, and she was quite successful. I had her the same year I had Luck and Michelle and that. And I sold her on after a 3-year-old season, and she ended up becoming a millionaire. Burke bought her. Anyways, the first 4 foals out of her sold at Harrisburg, and not good-looking foals. And this was a real sharp-looking colt, and I, for $15,000, I sure couldn't let him go.
What kind of a winter did he have? I mean, he looked impressive today. Did he give you an indication all the way down he was a decent colt?
Physically, he was like a really good colt right off the bat. He was good gaited. He was very athletic. But he was a kid. I mean, he's a June foal, and he's just like trying to harness this little brat kid to do the right thing. But seems once he got here, he seemed to figure it out.
So when you get one like that that's got that type of an attitude, what are some of the things you do as a veteran trainer to try and get his head on straight?
Well, the one thing I make sure I do is I don't let him know he's fast. So we spent pretty much the whole winter with him at the back of the field and convincing him that we knew what we were doing and just trust us, and when it's time to go, we'll let you do that. But we didn't want to show him any speed.
So last week finished third and paced his own mile in 58 and 3. Did you have a target a week ago, and did you know you were going to go at least a couple of times with him and want to see that progression from week 1 to week 2?
Yeah, well, I always qualify twice, and I brought him here the week before that, and Bob McClure went with him. I trained a different horse, like another horse behind him, and when we pulled up, he went a mile 2 minutes, came home 28 flat. When we pulled up, Bob said he was really good. He says he's as nice a colt as he had gone with so far. So he felt confident about him, and I knew he was in good shape. So for him to let him roll a little bit today, I don't think it was a bad thing.
Have you been able to map out a schedule with him at this point, being that he's eligible to the Indiana program? What do you think his future holds here in the next few weeks?
Well, I think I'm going to send him down. I'll find someone to take him down there and race him down there, at least in the first couple of sire stakes. I believe there's another race or two besides the sire stakes in Indiana he's eligible to, and he's paid into Champlain and the Metro here, so I mean we're a long ways away from that, but you have to have hopes.
For sure. You mentioned Jan's Luck, the mare of this guy that you had, one of many good pacing mares that you've had in your career. In recent years, it's been Powerful Chris. What's Powerful Chris up to these days?
Well, it's a really interesting story, and I think there's a good ending to it. She threw a couple clunkers in at the end of last year, couldn't figure it out. Over the winter, she started getting these cramps, and I got home from racing one night there before the break, and she kind of colicked, and the vets went over her for 3 or 4 days, and finally I had to send her to Guelph. They couldn't find anything. They sent her home. These cramping episodes kept happening. About a month later, I sent her back to Guelph, and what they found was a buildup of calcium, of minerals that form. It's called sand colic, and it forms around something that she can't digest. And it ended up being as big as a volleyball and weighing about 10 pounds. And they had to take it out of her stomach, obviously, and she's just doing awesome. I mean, she went backwards for about 2 weeks after the surgery, and right now she looks like $1 million, and she'll start back jogging in August.
Well, that's fantastic news to hear. And just one final thought on her. I mean, when you compare what she's done to this point in her career and other top ones you've had, where do you rate her?
She is, for me, the best horse I've ever had, because she came around when I needed her, and I don't know if she's literally, I had a chance to train Chancy Lady, Luck of Michelle. I don't know if she's sure not Luck of Michelle as a 2-year-old. She's not Chancy Lady as a 3-year-old, but she'll probably end up being the best aged mare that I've ever had. She's just a terrific horse. Yeah.
Well, looking forward to seeing her get back to the racetrack, and best of luck with this guy. John, an interesting story behind Jolsey Hanover, and an impressive win today. Good luck with him.
Thanks, Greg.
All right, that's John Pentland, the conditioner of Jolsey Hanover, a winner today in qualifier number 5 at 155-2 in his second qualifier. A colt that's eligible, as John said, to the Indiana Sire Stakes program, and he'll be looking to relocate that colt down there in the coming weeks. Still looking ahead to the back half of today's qualifying session. You're watching it live here on COSA-TV.
Enjoy the thrill of the race anywhere, anytime with HPIBet.com. Join for free and use your smartphone, tablet, or PC to watch and wager when you can't be at the track. Stream live racing from over 450 tracks. Bet with ease from anywhere. It's safe and secure. Get rewards, race alerts, tips, and more. For a limited time, get $100 when you become a member. Plus, 1 month free live race streaming, and your first bet is on us. Go to HPIBet.com to join for free today.
And welcome back to live coverage this morning from Campbellville, Ontario. It's Woodbine Mohawk Park, and it's the baby races. We've got 10 in total this morning, and we're halfway through. The first 5 have been pretty impressive to watch so far. And the good news is the heavy rains that we had really early this morning have been holding off here. And right now it does look like the skies are clearing somewhat. The track just getting faster as we go along here on the morning session. Going to bring in Mark McKelvey once again. And Mark, it's been a fun morning so far. We thought we'd see some impressive efforts. That certainly was the case in the first half of the card. Anyone in particular that you're really anxious to see in action here as we get ready for the final 5 this morning?
I could probably give the cliche answer here and say that I'm really looking forward to seeing the final qualifier and seeing Dean B. Hanover go, a $340,000 yearling purchase, racing for trainer Casey Coleman Hurley. He goes in the final qualifier, so it's kind of fun to know that at the end we're going to get to see one of the most, I want to say one that's got maybe the most hype around it just based on that yearling price and some of the reports about that one training down. But maybe not specifically anybody that's going to jump off the page in these final 5 qualifiers that I'm really excited to see. I was interested to see in the first qualifier, Captain of Rock and Roll. I thought he really delivered. But at the same time here, I think the track condition has only improved as the morning has gone on, and we're seeing miles in the 56, 55 range. I think maybe even a little quicker here in the back half. So it'll be fun to watch to see what happens here in the final 5. But these 2-year-old pacing colts and geldings, I thought, put on a good show in the first half.
Well, Mark, we've had a lot of fun bringing this coverage to folks over the last few weeks. Today will be our final day of coverage of these baby races, and we hope you've enjoyed the coverage. But, Mark, we're looking ahead to some live event coverage on COSA-TV all summer long and into the fall as well. We'll be announcing some of the details of the events that will be covered, but we'll be kicking it off next Sunday up in Clinton for the Kin Pace. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, really looking forward to the Kin Pace, which, as you mentioned earlier on this morning, they've got their eliminations tomorrow afternoon. 3-year-old pacing fillies in action, and 3 good eliminations coming up there tomorrow. So excited to really get the stakes season going here in Ontario. We talked about the OSS beginning last night, continues here tonight at Mohawk Park, but great to get some of these signature events at the various tracks across the province going because while we maybe don't have fans there just yet, the fans are certainly eager to watch this action from home, and great that some of this coverage will be brought by COSA-TV, and looking forward to it.
And we are looking forward to the second half of today's qualifying session. I want to give you a look again at some of the high-priced yearlings that we are getting a look at this morning, and some for the first time. There's a look at them, and Mark already mentioned it. We're going to see Dean B. Hanover in the finale today, the highest priced yearling in action this morning, a $340,000 price tag on that one from the Harrisburg sale from last fall, a betting line for the Casey Coleman Hurley stable. Marlborough Sealster, the highest priced yearling in Canadian history. The Son of Bettor's Delight will be out for a third qualifying effort. We'll see him later on this morning. And yeah, good group overall, very high profile individuals. But one not on that list, but that certainly garners a lot of attention based on his pedigree, is one that comes up here next in Qualifier 6. One that I've been very anxious to see hit the racetrack. His name is Last Bet. He's a Bettor's Delight from the Bob McIntosh stable, a homebred. McIntosh shares ownership with CSX Stables of Ohio and Al McIntosh of Leamington. Trevor Henry will be on board this Son of Bettor's Delight from the Western Hanover mare west of L.A. This one a brother to the world champion L.A. Delight, a sibling as well to champion somewhere in L.A. Both of those well over the $1.5 million mark in career earnings. And this one a sibling as well to the Sunshine Beach mare, Sunny Delight. Tremendous pedigree on Last Bet. And we'll see him for the first time here from Post 1 in qualifier number 6. There's a look at 7 Fonzie Ciacciarelli. Kenny Middleton, the voice of Mohawk Park, trains this guy. He made a miscue, though, late in the mile last time. So we'll need the experience of a second qualifier under his belt this morning, a better than Cheddar colt from Little Miss Sporty, a mare that Kenny campaigned. She was a good producer on the racetrack. We'll see if that translates into the breeding shed with her. There's Bob McClure coming out with number 5, Twin B Edge, for Casey Coleman Herlihy, one of the horses we saw on that graphic, one of the 6-figure yearlings in action this morning. He's a son of Betting Line from the Rock and Roll Heaven mare Twin B Exquisite, owned by the West Wind Stable here in Cambridge. The J.L. Benson Stables of Florida, Howard Taylor and Steve Heinbecker from Ontario, they all share in the ownership of this guy. One of several betting lines sent out this morning by Casey Coleman Herlihy. Of course, Casey campaigned that champion, and his offspring have been highly anticipated. His first crop hitting the racetrack this season. Another of his comes up here in the number 5 Twin B Edge. So it is a field of 8 getting set to assemble. And Mark, we talked about those high-priced yearlings, but it's a homebred here who I think gets the bulk of the attention in the number 1 Last Bet.
Absolutely, that's the one that certainly jumps off the page with that pedigree, so we'll see what he can do for his first go here this morning as we're going to take out number 3, Jimmy Connor B. It'll be a field of 7. They're lining up right now. Let's meet the field. Qualifier number 6, scratch number 3, Jimmy Connor B. Leaves us with a field of 7. Number 1, Last Bet, is a 2-year-old colt by Better's Delight out of Western Hanover Mare, west of L.A., owned by Robert McIntosh Stables, CSX Stables, and Al McIntosh Holdings. Homebred for Bob McIntosh. Driver will be Trevor Henry. 2 is Syros Blue Chip. American Ideal gelding out of an Art Major mare, owned by the stable Syros Blue Chip. Trained by Anthony McDonald. James McDonald will drive. $16,000 Harrisburg buy. 3 is out. 4 is Preview de Vie, a sports writer colt out of a Western Hanover mare, owned by Gestion J.Y. Blais, trained by Claude Cadeau and driven by Chris Christoforou. $37,000 Harrisburg purchase. 5 is Twin B Edge, a betting line colt out of a Rock and Roll Heaven mare, Westwind Stable, J.L. Benson Stables, Howard Taylor and Steve Heinbecker share ownership. Casey Coleman Herlihy is the trainer. The driver is Bob McClure, a $110,000 Harrisburg purchase. 6, He's in Control, a Control the Moment colt out of a Camluck mare, Linda Wellwood, along with Tammy Aspin are the owners. Lyle MacArthur trains and drives. $8,000 Lexington buy. 7 is Fonzie Ciacciarelli, a better than Cheddar colt out of a sports writer mare. This one is owned and trained by Ken Middleton. Louis-Philippe Roy will drive. And number 8, No Plan Intended, and Up the Credit gelding out of a Some Beach Somewhere mare. Carl Jameson, Brian Paquette are the owners. Carl Jameson trains, and Jody Jameson does the driving. There's your field of 7 for qualifier number 6. They're on gate picking up speed, and here they come. And they're off and pacing. Twin B Edge comes through in the center. Going with him is Syros Blue Chip. And also floating away nicely towards the front is Fonzie Ciacciarelli, who's got a 3-hole to drop into. Up on the outside is No Plan Intended from the rail Last Bet. And then it's He's in Control and Preview de Vie. They're going into the first turn, and everybody's going to get situated along the pylons now as No Plan Intended is going to drop in 4th for Jameson. But up at the front, the leader is Twin B Edge through an opening quarter of just 31. And 3. Not a lot of early speed here. It's Twin B Edge, the debuting son of Betting Line, leads by 1.5 lengths over Syros Blue Chip. Racing in 3rd is Fonzie Ciacciarelli, followed by No Plan Intended in 4th as they race by 3/8. Then it's a break of 2.5, going back to Last Bet, who is racing in 5th. 6 is He's in Control, and the trailer 7th as they go up the backside is Preview de Vie. Second quarter rush to the top here, coming from Fonzie Ciacciarelli. He'll touch down on the front at the half in 1:02. So as they drive into the far turn, Fonzie Ciacciarelli in his second qualifier is going to now lead the way for Louis-Philippe Roy. In second is Twin B Edge. Right on that one's back 3rd as they head into the far turn is Syros Blue Chip, being tracked by No Plan Intended. Last Bet is there. Also advancing a little closer now, He's in Control. And the trailer is Preview de Vie. Out of the 2-hole now, this is Twin B Edge, ready to try and reclaim the top spot from Fonzie Ciacciarelli. Ciacciarelli, no plan intended, latches onto him to swing off the turn. And then inside fourth is Ciro's Blue Chip, and last bet is fifth, 132-1. Rookie Pacers will be sprinting on home. Fonzie Ciacciarelli right along the pylons, still with the lead. Here's Ciro's Blue Chip. Twinbee Edge is way back there in fourth. On the outside is no plan intended, and last bet is coming on in the center. No plan intended on the outside's got the lead. It's no plan intended to win. Going to be tight for second. It appears to go to Ciro's Blue Chip over last bet third. Twinbee Edge was fourth. Fonzie Ciacciarelli fifth. Then it was He's in Control and Preview to V, 2 minutes and 2/5.
An action-packed qualifier number 6, and several of them across the racetrack coming to the end in that final quarter sprint. The mile, 2 minutes and 2/5, and on the far outside, it was no plan intended getting it done. And he looks good on the run out as well. And up the credit gelding by Warrawee Star, and she is some beach somewhere. So this one a homebred. Carl Jameson, a part of the group that bred this colt and trains, and Jody doing the driving, and Mark, not a flashy win time, but he did it absolutely the right way.
Certainly did. Right off the wings of the gate there, Jody wasn't content on just heading to the back. He was able to get up into the mid-pack towards the front, settling in fourth, and a nice performance there in the stretch. And as I talked about, when they were coming off the last turn, he was able to sit right on the back of the Twinbee Edge, who was out from second for McClure late on the bend, and then no plan intended on the outside, does the rest, powering home. Final quarter for that one will be probably about 27-4, so not a bad final panel. Not a lot of speed there in that qualifier, and I don't know if that speaks anything to maybe the track or the conditions here this morning. We'll have to wait and see. There is so far a 1 second variant being given for all the competitors with the track listed as good, but there was plenty of action, and I'm going to ask you, Greg, I thought last bet looked pretty good there, finishing up his mile. Pretty much kind of what I've expected with Trevor Henry driving for Bob McIntosh.
Yeah, he, I think it maybe got bothered by the braking horse turning for home, and so he navigated that, and then trying to split in between horses late. A lot of traffic around him. He raced well, but hey, let's give props to the winner. No plan intended. The up the credit horse, didn't talk much about him before the qualifier, but although the win time, as mentioned, is not going to really turn heads when you check the results, I like the body language of both horse and driver coming to the end. Did that very much in hand. So we'll turn our attention next to qualifier number 7. Another field of 8 getting set to go postward in this tilt. Number 3, Lawless Shadow, one of just 3 in this spot. 3 of them who will be making their debut behind the starting gate today. The other 5 have all seen the starting gate in qualifying action to this point. Lawless Shadow is a shadow play colt from the Better's Delight mare Lady Sino, who was a good one. She was a $500,000 winner over the course of her racing career. Dr. Ian Moore, part of the ownership group, shares ownership here with RG Group Limited of New Brunswick, Sir Chavard, and Hudson Standardbred of Quebec. Ian training, and Bob McClure scheduled to drive as he makes his debut. Next door neighbor Saratoga Blue Chip, a son of He's Watching, who sent out 3 winners on the filly side here yesterday, and his offspring have looked good, and already a winner earlier on today's program. This one from the champion mare Molly Can Do It, herself a winner of almost $900,000, and she's already produced 5 winners of $200,000 or more, so her success on the track has translated to the breeding shed. Mark has the rundown of qualifier 6 as we get set to go with the 7th momentarily.
Results from the 6th qualifier. Number 1, Last Bet was 3rd. Number 2, Ciro's Blue Chip 2nd. Number 3 was Scratch. Number 4, Preview to V 7th. Number 5, Twinbee Edge was 4th. Number 6, He's in Control 6th. Number 7, Fonzie Ciacciarelli 5th. And number 8, No Plan Intended was the winner. 3-2, Scratch 7-4, 6-5-1 is your order of finish. Fractions 31-3, 102, 132-1, 2 minutes and 2/5 for the winner. Number 8, No Plan Intended, a gelded son of Up the Credit out of the Some Beach Somewhere mare Warrawee Star, owned by Carl Jameson and Brian Paquette along. They were part of the breeders. Carl Jameson is the trainer, Jody Jameson in the sulky. No Plan Intended, the first foal out of that Some Beach Somewhere mare Warrawee Star, who was a sister to $743,000 winner Warrawee Coining. Coming up next, qualifier number 7.
There is Saratoga Blue Chip hitting the track. Talked about this one a moment ago. Anthony Beaton, the trainer. Here's one that looked like he might be on his way to a victory a week ago in his qualifier and made a late miscue, finishing third on that occasion. So a similar profile to Avion Seelster, who we saw earlier today. That son of a sports writer did come back and was a winner for Jody Jamieson and trainer Jack Darling. Saratoga Blue Chip, a $60,000 yearling purchase from last year. The talent appears to be there now. It's just a case of making sure he's doing it the right way, and we'll see if any tweaks that would have been made this past week will translate into a better result this morning. I believe all horses are on track and getting set to go. Another up to credit in here, Mark, and his name is Spicy P. So again, up to credit, another one of those stallions that maybe doesn't get the due respect, but he's been a pretty solid producer overall in the OSS program.
Yeah, he has, and I'll go here for Chris Matthews, who will actually also do the driving. Of course, Chris, part of the operation with the Greg McNair barn, but on his own has had a couple of nice performers in recent years, and he's hoping to get a nice performance out of Up the Credit Colt Spicy P here in qualifier number 7. Let's meet the field for this 7th of 10. Number 1, Holly's Treasure here in qualifier number 7 is a State Treasurer colt out of a Camlock mare. Owner, breeder, trainer is Colonel Schneider. The driver's Mike Saftik. 2 is State Senator. State Treasurer colt out of a Shadow Play mare. Brad Grant's the owner, breeder. Scott McEnany trains. Doug McNair drives. 3 is Lawless Shadow, a Shadow Play colt out of a Better's Delight mare owned by Dr. Ian Moore, RG McGroup Limited, Serge Savard and Hudson Standardbred Stable. Ian Moore trains. Bob McClure drives. $52,000 London buy. 4 is Saratoga Blue Chip, a He's Watching colt out of a Camluck mare. Larry Maneri, Michael Guerrero, and Alan Albert, along with George Harrison, share ownership. Anthony Beaton trains. Jody Jamieson will drive. $60,000 Harrisburg buy. 5 is Island Beach Boy, a Some Beach Somewhere colt out of an Armoro McIntosh mare. Ian Smith and Arnold Hagen are the owners. Marcel Berrio, the trainer driver. 6 is Spicy P, and Up the Credit colt out of a Camluck mare. Chris Matthews, Jessica Breeze Karn, and Desmond Scott, along with Gary Lyons, are your owners. Chris Matthews, the trainer driver. 7 is Hako Mojito, a Shadow Play colt out of a House of Fun mare. Marie Claude J is the owner, trainer, driver. And number 8 is Beach Blogger, a sports writer colt out of a Shotgun Scott mare owned by Westwind Stable, Steve Heimbecker, Kevin McKinley, and J.L. Benson Stables. Casey Coleman Hurley, he's the trainer. Jonathan Drury drives. $50,000 Harrisburg buy. And they're off in pacing here in qualifier number 7. Hako Mojito and Beach Blogger. The outside 2 are going to be the quickest away. Lawless Shadow is in 3rd. Up on the outside is Saratoga Blue Chip, who's going ahead for Jameson. Then it is State Senator getting away in 5th, followed by Island Beach Boy in 6th, Spicy P 7th, and the trailer is Holly's Treasure. Heading to the opening quarter, the leader is Hako Mojito through an opening panel of 30-1. Hako Mojito leads them into the backstretch. Racing second is Beach Blogger. 3rd is Lawless Shadow. And dropping in 4th with Saratoga Blue Chip. Thought for a moment that one might drive right on towards the lead, but instead will sit there in 4th, as it looks like there's good tempo here in the second quarter. 5th is State Senator, then followed 6th by Island Beach Boy. A break of about 3 lengths going back to Spicy P in 7th, and 8th is Holly's Treasure. It's the leader, Shadow Play colt Hako Mojito, past the half in 59-2. 29-1 second quarter for Hako Mojito, being followed by Beach Blogger. And then it's a break of about 6 lengths going back to Lawless Shadow. Island Beach Boy advancing for Berrio. He's now up into 3rd. Racing in 5th, that is Saratoga Blue Chip. 6th is State Senator, followed by Spicy P. And then it's a break of 4 going back to Holly's Treasure. It's Hako Mojito taking them past 3 quarters here in 1:27-3. Turning for home. That was a 28-1 third quarter. Hako Mojito. Beach Blogger has been following from in 2nd and will want to shoot on by here in the lane. Hako Mojito's going to dig in and try and fend off that rival. Hako Mojito and Beach Blogger. Island Beach Boy is back in 3rd. 4th, that is Lawless Shadow and Saratoga Blue Chip. 16th to go, and Hako Mojito is going to turn aside the challenge. Hako Mojito coming towards the line will win. Finishing 2nd was Island Beach Boy, tight for 3rd between Beach Blogger and Lawless Shadow. Saratoga Saratoga Blue Chip was 5th. Then it was State Senator, Spicy P, and Holly's Treasure, 157 and 3.
Another close finish in qualifier number 7. Final quarter, just 30 seconds, so a little bit different than we've seen in some of the other qualifying races. But I think some good news for some of the connections in here, certainly. The winner, Haka Mojito, nice step up in time for this one. Last raced in a week ago, I should say, finishing 5th. Paced in 59-1, so lowered the time a couple of seconds, much more aggressively handled. A really flashy-looking son of Shadow Play out on the racetrack, and a homebred, so the Augers would certainly be happy. And I think runner-up, Island Beach Boy, kind of nice to see that one, Mark, turn around. Has been here a couple of times prior to today and made miscues both times. So today handles the track much better for trainer-driver Marcel Barrio, and he'd be, I think, pretty happy to see that and closing against the winner late.
Yeah, has to be happy with that. You keep it all together here this morning. He got him on the move going into the far turn, and then, as you mentioned, comes in and closes in on the winner towards the line. Good performance from that son of some beach somewhere who's going to get it back together here this morning. Hako Mojito looked pretty strong there through the middle half, and turning for home, Beach Blogger looked poised. That was a good trip, and following the leader, just didn't really have it and couldn't come on by. And Hako Mojito, while it's not going to be a sharp last quarter, at least something that's going to catch your attention, got the victory and is able to hold on to get it in 157 and 3. But a few rivals there coming on late to be right there in the mix. So we'll get the rundown to see exactly how that all shook out.
The Hako Mojito, a son of Shadow Play from the House of Fun Mare Sans Frontières, and that one campaigned by Marie-Claude Auger, and a good race mare, winner of around $250,000, racing much of her career in the Ottawa area. And this colt, so far so good, a winner in qualifier number 2. The runner-up, as mentioned, Saratoga Blue Chip, finished 4th or 5th in there, but finished up, I think, with pace, and they were a little bit careful with that one, I think, today after the miscue last week, and I think he had lots of pace on the end. 3 more left to go this morning, the 8th of 10. Making their way to the track now are the 8 starters. And among the field in here, always been crazy. One of the first-timers in the field. We'll have 4 of them making their first appearance in qualifying action today. And this one is a Sunshine Beach out of a Western Terror mare, Notable Beauty, a homebred for Alan Fair, Tyler Moore. Will drive. Amazing Bet from the Casey Coleman Hurley stable, occupies post 1, $62,000 yearling. Makes his debut, son of Betting Line. 5th foal from the Cole Muffler mare, Amazing Marker, who's already produced a couple of $150,000 plus winners as a broodmare. Here's Mark with the rundown from qualifier number 7.
Order of finish from qualifier number 7. Number 1, Holly's Treasure was 8th. Number 2, State Senator 6th. Number 3, Lawless Shadow was 3rd. Number 4, Saratoga Blue Chip 5th. Number 5, Island Beach Boy 2nd. Number 6, Spicy P 7th. Number 7, Hako Mojito the winner. And number 8, Beach Blogger was 4th. 8, 6, 3, 5, 2, 7, 1, 4 is your order of finish. Fractions were 30 and 1, 59 and 2, 127 and 3, 157 and 3 for the winner, Hako Mojito. 2-year-old colt by Shadow Play out of the House of Fun mare, Sans Frontières, bred by Denise Auger. Marie-Claude Auger is the owner, trainer, driver. Second qualifier for Hako Mojito and establishes a mark of 157 and 3.
Just had a look at Amazing Bet making his way from the paddock. There is number 5, Boarding Dogs, a sports rider gelding. First foal from, the second foal from All-American Native mare Silky Flower. Silky Flower's already produced a $120,000 winner in Indigo Art. Rod Boyd conditions this one. Mike Saftik has the driving assignment today as we get a look there at Amazing Bet. First look at this son of Betting Line this morning. Kind of mixed results for the Casey Coleman Herlihy pupils here this morning. Some have looked very good, and others have struggled a little bit. So it'll be back to the drawing board with a few. And she's still got 3 more that we're going to have a look at, including this guy, a $62,000 yearling purchase, as mentioned. Uncontrollable is a son of Control the Moment, who occupies post 3 today for trainer Scott McEnany, and already 1 qualifier under the belt for this one. The Control the Moment colt was second, beaten 3 lengths a week ago. The Damn Precious relation. She's a precious bunny mare, and she's a pretty good mare on the racetrack herself, and a good production record so far. Has already produced 3 with more than $200,000 on their card. Mark, as we look at the starters and getting ready to go for race 8, anyone catch your attention out on the racetrack?
Well, you already touched a little bit on Amazing Bet. That was one that I had circled. Looking at the pedigree, the Dam is a full sister to Double Millionaire Loyal Opposition. She was a treat to watch on the track. So we'll see what Amazing Bet can do here in his debut, the son of Betting Line. Starting gate is rolling. Here is the field for Qualifier number 8. It is a field of 8. 1 driver change. Number 4, Can't Stop Lying. James McDonald will drive. Here's the field. 1 Amazing Bet, a Betting Line colt out of a Cole Muffler mare. West Wind Stable. Mac Nichols, Steve Heimbecker, and Derek Wilson are your owners. Casey Coleman Herlihy trains. Bob McClure drives. $62,000 Lexington buy. 2 Osias is a Sweet Lou colt out of an American Ideal mare. Team Osias is the ownership. Dan Legacy, the trainer. Louis-Philippe Watt drives. $47,000 Lexington purchase. 3 Uncontrollables, a Control the Moment colt out of a Precious Bunny mare. Scott McEnany, the owner, trainer. Doug McNair drive. $6,000 London buy. 4 Can't Stop Lying, a Sunshine Beach colt out of a Western Hanover mare. Owned and bred by Millar Farms. Nick Galucci trains. James McDonald drives. 5 is Boarding Dogs. Sports writer gelding out of an All-American native mare. Bob Key, the owner breeder. Rod Boyd trains. Mike Saftik drives. 6, Always Being Crazy, a Sunshine Beach colt out of a Western Tear mare. Owned and bred by Elizabeth and Alan Fair. Alan Fair's the trainer. Tyler Moore drives. 7 Ignite Sealster, a Big Jim colt out of a Camluck mare. Anthony Beaton, David Mercer, Wayne McRae, and a numbered on Alberta Incorporated are the owners. Anthony Beaton trains. Sylvan Filion drive. $17,000 London buy. And 8 is Mission Command. Better's Delight colt out of an Art Major mare. Bill Maines, Bill Cripps, and Stephen Papillon, along with Leo Fleming, own. Gerald Lilly trains. Trevor Henry drive. $70,000 London buy. And they're off and pacing here in qualifier number 8. And right to the lead goes Always Being Crazy. Right out top on by a 3-length advantage in the early going. Ignite Sealster is going to get ahead in second in front of Amazing Bet, who got away in third. Uncontrollable comes away in 4th. Then it is Can't Stop Lying in 5th. Into the bend, Osias is 6th, followed 7th by Boarding Dogs, and the trailer is Mission Command. The opening quarter was 31-3, and the rookie pacers swing into the backstretch, still with a loose lead. This is Always Being Crazy on top by 3. Second is Ignite Sealster for Filion, followed by Amazing Bet in 3rd. Racing 4th up the backside is Uncontrollable, being tracked by Can't Stop Lying from in 5th. Tightening up is Osias. Right on his back is Boarding Dogs, and the last one is Mission Command. But it is the Sunshine Beach colt, Always Being Crazy, the leader through a half of 102 flat. Always Being Crazy is entering the far turn. In second, Big Jim colt Ignite Sealster. Third is the Betting Line colt Amazing Bet. Racing inside 4th, the Son of Control the Moment, Uncontrollable. Up on the outside is Osias as that Sweet Lou colt is trying to advance. Probably going to force the handle of Boarding Dogs as that Sports Rider gelding is now 3 wide. Inside is the Sunshine Beach colt Can't Stop Lying. And last is the Better's Delight colt Mission Command. Here at 3/4, it's a length and a half advantage in 1:32, 30 seconds even for Always Being Crazy. Always Being Crazy on the outside, Amazing Bet. Now angling out, looking to come through off the 2-hole. Here is Ignite Sealster. Always Being Crazy now. Going to hand over the lead. Amazing Bet is able to seize the top. Here comes Uncontrollable on the outside. It's Amazing Bet and Uncontrollable. These two powering into deep stretch, and Uncontrollable on the outside is going to get it. Amazing Bet finishes in second. Then it was Can't Stop Lying, followed by Ignite Sealster. Osias, Always Being Crazy, Mission Command, and Boarding Dogs. 2 minutes and 3/5, the time of the mile. The winner, Uncontrollable.
Another good finish there comes down to a final quarter sprint. Uncontrollable, who was second a week ago with different tactics, was put on the front last weekend and picked off in the late stages through a 26-3 final quarter. Today, he's doing the chasing and gets it done. Really good final quarter speed. And the runner-up, Amazing Bet, from the Casey Coleman Herlihy stable. Mark, we talked about it, kind of mixed results for her horses today, but there's one that impressed me, even though he didn't win. I think he's got lots more in the tank.
Yeah, I would say so. That's what I was thinking coming to the line. There's a good duel between those two in deep stretch, but Uncontrollable is just going to get up and win probably by about a neck there, but a good performance from both of them. And for Uncontrollable, a $6,000 buy for Scott McEnany. He just owns this one on his own, trains it, and that's not looking like a bad investment right now. $6,000, not having to break the bank, and you get a son of Control the Moment here, and you're taking a chance maybe on a group of horses, as we talked about with Control the Moment. There's only so many of them. We're keeping our eye to see how they're going to perform, and here's maybe one of his best-looking sons to this point, Uncontrollable. That's 2 weeks in a row. He's really powered on home.
So we've talked about it before. I think there's a tremendous amount of depth in the OSS program, especially on the pacing side as we come into 2020. It makes it really intriguing to watch, and we talked about it earlier, and we'll recap a little bit later the OSS schedule in the short term here, and the different stops that it's going to be making here in the coming weeks. So we turn our attention now to qualifier number 9. Just 2 more left to go here this morning, and hope you've enjoyed the coverage so far on COSA-TV. Again, let us know where you're tuning in from, or leave us a comment. You'll be entered for the draw for that $250 Amazon gift card package, compliments of hoofbid.com. We'll be picking one winner at random from all of the comments from yesterday and today on the show. A field of 8 next in qualifier number 9. And a look at another high-priced yearling here, Beachhead, a son of Some Beach Somewhere, from the J. Lobel mare, Precious Beauty. Now, this guy is sibling to many good ones, including Sports Writer, winner of $1.6 million, Precocious Beauty, the $890,000 winner, and almost $500,000 winner, Prescient Beauty. Beachhead, $225,000 yearling from last fall, and this guy, full brother to American Sportsman, and that son of Some Beach Somewhere has made almost $140,000. So tremendous pedigree potential, thus costs a few dollars to purchase a colt like this. Again, $225,000 the price tag. Steve Heimbecker and Mac Nichol share the ownership on this one. And Casey Coleman Herlihy does the training. Bob McClure will get the driving assignment behind Beachhead, and we're excited to get our first look at this guy, as a few others will be in the same boat here in qualifier number 9. We'll talk more about them in a moment. But before that, Mark has the rundown from qualifier 8.
Here are the results from the 8th qualifier. Number 1, Amazing Bet, was second. Number 2, Osias, 5th. Number 3, Uncontrollable, the winner. Number 4, Can't Stop Lying, 3rd. Number 5, Boarding Dogs, 8th. Number 6, Always Been Crazy, 6th. Number 7, Ignite Steelster, 4th. And number 8, Mission Command, was 7th. 251, 38, 647 is your order of finish. Fractions were 31 and 3, 102, 132, 2 minutes and 3/5 for the winner. Number 3, Uncontrollable, a 2-year-old colt by Control the Moment, out of the Precious Bunny mare, Precious Relation, owned and trained by Scott McEnany. Doug McNair was in the sulky. Uncontrollable, $6,000 London yearling sale buy, establishes a mark of 2 minutes and 3/5 with his victory in this morning's 8th qualifier.
There's another look at the field for the 9th, with just 2 more to go on this, what is turning out to be a very nice Saturday morning at Woodbine Mohawk Park. Looking forward to live racing, of course, here tonight as well. Saturday, always the power-packed program of the week here at the Campbellville Oval, and tonight will be no exception. And looking forward to the stakes schedule. You can visit the Woodbine Entertainment Group website to find out all the information there and any of the adjustments to their lucrative stakes schedule this season, including the Pepsi North America Cup. It'll be a little bit different. We'll see that in late August this year. Typically would have been this past weekend. There's another quick look at the Ontario Sire Stakes upcoming schedule. Several events, including the first look at Gold Series 3-year-old Colt Trotters, coming up this Sunday night at Georgian Downs in Innisville. Perhaps some future stars of the OSS coming up here next in qualifier number 9. We've got 8 of them in total. We've talked about the regally bred Beachhead in this spot. Next door to that one, Desperate Man, is one that was a qualifying winner last Saturday morning. This son of Shadow Play, trained by Kathy Chikeen, had Trevor Henry on board for that closing effort in 1:57.2 and sizzled with a 26-second final quarter on that occasion. Looked ready to go to me, but they're choosing to go one more time in qualifying action. So what will we see today for an encore from Desperate Man? We'll find out in a moment. Mark McKelvey with the call of Qualifier 9.
Qualifier number 9, a couple of notes. Number 2, Priority Lounge, make the driver James McDonald. And number 6, Jim Rocks, is scratched. 1, Yankee Litigator, is an Always Be Mickey Colt out of a Some Beach Somewhere mare, owned and trained by Dan Legacy. Louis Philippe Wobble Drive, $30,000 Harrisburg buy. 2, Priority Lounge, is a Shadow Play Colt out of a No Pan Intended mare, homebred from Millar Farms, trained by Nick Galucci with James McDonald. 3 is Desperate Man, a Shadow Play Colt out of an Arts Place mare. Kathy and John Chikeen, along with Nicole Davies and Paul Davies, are your owners. Kathy Chikeen, the trainer. Trevor Henry drives, $20,000 Lexington buy. 4 is Beachhead, a Some Beach Somewhere Colt out of a Jate Lobel mare. Steve Heimbecker and Mac Nickel share ownership. Casey Coleman Hurley is the trainer. Bob McClure drives, a $225,000 Lexington selected yearling sale purchase. 5 is Downer's Delight, a Better's Delight Colt out of an Australia's mare. James Downer, Osceola Stables, and John Clark are the owners. Osceola trains, Jonathan Drury drives. 6 is out. 7 is Big Idea, Big Jim Colt of an Art Major mare. Greg McNair, Jim Newton, Bloomingwood Farms Limited, and Paul Kidd are the owners. Greg McNair trains, Doug McNair drives. And number 8 is Candy Trader, Better's Delight Colt out of a Well Said mare. Steve Heimbecker, Larry Maneri, Michael Guerrero, and Ben Moudry share ownership. Anthony Beaton trains, Jody Jameson drives, $72,000 Lexington purchase. And they're off and pacing here in qualifier number 9. Pretty even beginning here. Nobody exactly really storming out of there, but it will be the outside 2, Big Idea and Candy Trader, that come away well. So those 2 head towards the first turn. They'll get set up on the front end. Meanwhile, Yankee Litigator gets away in 3rd. Here on the outside is Desperate Man for Henry. Then it is Priority Lounge, who is racing in 5th, followed by Beachhead, and the trailer is Downer's Delight. Opening quarter was 30 seconds even. 30-second opener for Candy Trader, debuting son of Better's Delight and Jody Jameson, show the way. Big Idea, the son of Big Jim, is in 2nd. We had a first turn breaker coming out of the turn. Beachhead went off stride. So as they go by 3/8, Candy Trader on top, Big Idea in 2nd, then in 3rd. That is Yankee Litigator, followed 4th by Desperate Man. Racing 5th is Priority Lounge. 6th is Downer's Delight. And Beachhead will look to catch up after making that first turn mistake. They're past the half in 1 minute and 3/5. 30 3 second quarter there for Candy Trader. Candy Trader, a $72,000 Lexington Select Sale buy, is on top by a pair. Big Idea in 2nd. Remaining 3rd, Yankee Litigator. We'll be waiting on Desperate Man. He's in 4th. Looks like he's ready to get underway for Henry. Then in 5th is Priority Lounge, followed by Downer's Delight. And Beachhead is then about 6 or 7 lengths behind that rival. On the outside, Desperate Man. He's coming up quickly now up to confront Candy Trader. 1:30.4 for 3 quarters. They're into the stretch. Here, sweeping on by comes Desperate Man. He takes the lead. It's Desperate Man to the front. Back in 2nd now, Candy Trader. Big Idea comes to the outside. He'll try to shoot by his nearest rival. Then out in the center is Yankee Litigator and Priority Lounge in 5th. But here is Desperate Man. He's going to make it back-to-back baby race scores. Desperate Man, the son of Shadow Play, to take it. 2nd goes to Candy Trader. 3rd appeared to be Yankee Litigator over Big Idea, followed by Priority Lounge, and then it was Beachhead and Downer's Delight. 1:57.2. Another sharp final quarter from Desperate Man.
Well, that, if not the most impressive, right up with one of the most impressive efforts we've seen this morning. 57-2. That's a big-time final quarter on this day. 26-3 for Desperate Man, maybe even a little faster than that. The horse came from fourth and left no doubt. And we call these baby races, but this horse looks anything but a baby. A big, strong-looking son of Shadow Play, very professional. Looks like a seasoned racehorse right now. It could be a fun season in store with this guy.
I would think so. Connections have to just be thrilled with that effort. Great follow-up, and I mentioned it in the call as they were coming around that last turn. We'd be waiting on Desperate Man to get rolling, and you could see he was ready to go. And when Trevor Henry moved him, he got into high speed pretty quickly there. It was a pretty quick move, and as they came off the turn, just powering home. 26-3 is the race final quarter. Like you said, maybe a tad quicker for him, but overall, he's showing that this horse has got some high speed, and he's a strong-looking son of Shadow Play.
So certain horses are stamping themselves as early season threats, and I think he is one of them. Really looking forward to seeing him in his parimutuel debut. And we are looking forward to the 10th and final race of the morning. And a field of 8 will be getting set to assemble in here. And intriguing in this event in the fact that we have 3 six-figure yearlings all squaring off in this spot. The aforementioned Dean B. Hanover, son of Betting Line, a $340,000 a yearling from this past fall. A first foal, I believe, from the mare, first or second foal from Delhi Beach, daughter of some beach somewhere, lightly raced herself, but she assists her to a couple of $700,000 winners in Art Standing and Little Miss Dragon. Also, Marlborough Sealster. We're going to get our third look at this guy. The highest priced yearling ever sold at public auction in Canada last fall at the London Selected Sale. Haltered for $270,000. Finished 5th in his first effort, 3rd a week ago. And we'll look to try and step that up even further this time around. And Mythic Gambler, a $100,000 yearling. Owned by Determination of Montreal, Quebec. Luke Blade trains and Bob McClure driving this son of Better's Delight from the Arts Place mare Mythical. So a good-looking field to wrap up this morning's baby races. Tribal Sports, another one we're going to get a look at. A Sports Rider Colt making his first appearance for trainer Chantel Mitchell. Randy Waples will drive. Second foal from Cheyenne Merriam, and that daughter of Better's Delight was a $400,000 winner in her career. Mark will give us the rundown from Qualifier 9 as we get set to set the stage for our 10th and final.
Results from qualifier number 9. Number 1, Yankee Litigator was 3rd. Number 2, Priority Lounge 5th. Number 3, Desperate Man, the winner. Number 4, Beachhead 7th. Number 5, Downers Delight 6th. Number 6 was Scratch. Number 7, Big Idea 4th. And number 8, Candy Trader was 2nd. 3, 5, 1, 7, 6, Scratch 4, 2. Fractions were 30 flat. A minute 3/5, 130 and 4, 157 and 2. The final quarter of that race, 26-3. Potentially just a little quicker even there for the winner, Desperate Man. 2-year-old colt by Shadow Play out of the Arts Place mare Dreamlands Latte. Desperate Man was a $20,000 Lexington Select yearling sale purchase. He's owned by Kathy and John Chikeen, along with Nicole and Paul Davies. Kathy Chikeen, the trainer. Trevor Henry was in the sulky. Matches his time from a week ago. That's 2 consecutive 2-year-old qualifying scores for Desperate Man, 157 and 2 in the 9th.
Among the starters here in the 10th and final will be Initial Concept, the number 1, making a second appearance for his connections. Trainer Scott McEnany, Louis-Philippe Roy on board this $37,000 yearling purchase. A Shadow Play colt from the Rock and Roll Hanover mare Raquel, 6th in the debut a week ago, showed 28 and 1 final quarter speed. Better Son is the other first-timer in the field. He'll have post 5 this morning. Greg McNair training, Doug McNair to do the driving. A Sunshine Beach colt from the Better's Delight mare Better Think Twice. She was a $200,000 winner in her career, and this is her second foal. Getting a look at the rest of the starters hitting the racetrack here for today's 10th and final. Another he's watching in the field. His name is Socrates Blue Chip. Post 7 for him today. Jody Jameson and Jeff Gillis will team up. And there he is, right on cue. Stepping onto the racetrack. He raced here a week ago. He hooked one of the fastest qualifiers of the morning, though, 1:54.3. He raced evenly in finishing 5th. Was charted in 57.2 and paced home in 27.2. So if there's one that fits the profile of a colt who could step up his time a little bit this week and maybe progress off of that, I think Socrates Blue Chip is one that fits the bill. They're on the track and heading over to the backstretch now, getting set to assemble for today's 10th and final. Again, from his vantage point, Mark gets a different view of the horses. How are they handling as a group overall here?
Pretty professional, that's for sure. The ones out there right now calmly making their way up to the gate. Been looking forward to this one. The high-priced yearling Dean B. Hanover, of course, Mythic Gambler from the outside. That Better's Delight colt, who is a full brother to Alicorn. This should be a good one to cap off this morning's action. So let's meet the field for the 10th. Number 1 initial concept is a 2-year-old colt by Shadow Play out of a Rock and Roll Hanover mare. Dominic Shiravalli, Scott McEnany, Joe Tonelli, and Mart West Racing Stable are the owners. Scott McEnany trains, Louis Waugh drives, $37,000 Harrisburg purchase. 2 is Dean B. Hanover, a betting line colt out of a Some Beach Somewhere mare, owned by Mac Nickel, John Leviakis, and Blue Chip Bloodstock, trained by Casey Coleman Hurley. James McDonald drives a $340,000 Harrisburg buy. 3 is State of Treasure, a colt out of Apache's Fame mare. Colonel Schneider is the breeder, owner, trainer. Mike Saft exteriors. 4 is Tribal Sport, a sports rider colt out of a Better's Delight mare. Doug Millard farms, the owner, breeder. Chantel Mitchell trains. Randy Waples drives, a $7,000 Lexington Sale graduate. 5 is Better Son, a Sunshine Beach colt out of a Better's Delight mare, owned and bred by Willow Oak Ranch. Greg McNair trains. Doug McNair will drive. Number 6, Marlboro Sealster, a Better's Delight colt out of a McCardle mare. Jeffrey Snyder, Michael Snyder, and Dr. Ian Moore are the owners. Ian Moore trains. Trevor Henry drives, a $270,000 London Selected Yearling Sale purchase. 7 is Socrates Blue Chip. He's watching colt out of a Rock and Roll Hanover mare. Blue Chip Bloodstock, the owner breeder. Jeff Gillis trains. Jody Jameson drives, $35,000 Harrisburg grad. And 8 is Mythic Gambler, a Better's Delight colt out of an Arts Place mare. Determination owns. Luke Blade trains. Bob McClure drives, a $100,000 Harrisburg buy. Final qualifier for this Saturday morning, and they're off and pacing. Marlboro Sealster is going to be shot out to the lead here by Trevor Henry, and he's quickly out to an early advantage. Here is Socrates Blue Chip moving into second, getting away in third as initial concept, as Dean B. Hanover will get situated in fourth. Dropping in behind him is Tribal Sport, then it is State of Treasure, followed by Better Son, and the trailer is Mythic Gambler. To the opening quarter they go, and they'll be led by Marlboro Sealster. He's through an opening panel of 30-2. 30-2 opener for Marlboro Sealster. Third qualifier here. Off stride went Dean B. Hanover. Dean B. Hanover in fourth made a break. Into the backstretch they go. Marlboro Sealster by a length and a half over Socrates Blue Chip. Third is Initial Concept. Now in fourth, that is Tribal Sport. Followed fifth by State of Treasure. 6 up the backstretch is Better Son. Followed then by Mythic Gambler. And last is Dean B. Hanover. They're past the half in 1:01.1. 30-4 second quarter for Marlboro Sealster, who gives over the lead now to Socrates Blue Chip. Socrates Blue Chip has taken the top spot, leads by 2 lengths. Second is Marlboro Sealster, racing in third. As they drive around the far turn, that is Initial Concept. Then it's a break of about 6 lengths going back to Tribal Sport in fourth. 3 lengths then to State of Treasure, followed by Better Son. On the outside, starting to get underway is Mythic Gambler, and Dean B. Hanover at the inside is 8th. 3/4 time, 1:30 flat. So they come off the turn and into the stretch. It's Socrates Blue Chip, the leader. Socrates Blue Chip, Marlboro Sealster is in second, looking to try and get back towards the lead, but is still about 4 or 5 lengths away with less than 1/8 of a mile to go. Initial Concept back in third. Then it is Better Son. Mythic Gambler trying to gain a few spots late, but this one's going to go to Socrates Blue Chip, who will win it. Marlboro Sealster was second. Initial Concept third. Then it was Better Son fourth over Mythic Gambler, followed by Tribal Sport, Dean B. Hanover, and State of Treasure. Time of the mile, 1:58.1. That's a 1:58.1 mile. For Socrates Blue Chip, who wins the 10th and final qualifier, here is the order of finish from the final qualifier. Number 1, Initial Concept was 3rd. Number 2, Dean B. Hanover 7th. Number 3, State of Treasure 8th. Number 4, Tribal Sport 6th. Number 5, Better Sun 4th. Number 6, Marlboro Sealster 2nd. Number 7, Socrates Blue Chip the winner. And number 8, Mythic Gambler was 5th. 3, 7, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1, 5. Fractions were 30 and 2, 101 and 1, 130, 158 and 1 for the winner. Socrates Blue Chip, a son of He's Watching of a rock and roll Hanover mare, put on a clinic. Homebred for Blue Chip Bloodstock, a $35,000 Harrisburg grad, trained by Jeff Gillis and driven to victory by Jody Jamieson in our final qualifier here this morning.
Well, an impressive final qualifier today. Maybe even more impressive than that, how quickly Mark McKelvey got the rundown in the finish order after his race call from race number 10. He's on the phone there now. He's multitasking, doing a wonderful job again. But it was Socrates Blue Chip, and we talked about the fact that here was a colt that I felt would step up a little bit today. I think they probably just had a target in terms of time last week and what they wanted to achieve with him. Today you could tell there was a little more aggressive approach, and he looked very good in winning. So there we go. He's Watching, 3 winners yesterday, a couple more today. His name now really gets tossed around more so as we've seen in recent weeks with some of these stallions, and it speaks again to the depth that we're going to see this year in the OSS program. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it will be, that's for sure. I think you see those performances here today. It's always about that second look. Sometimes horses are really going to step up. Sometimes they might not catch your eye the way they did that first week. But to your point, it appeared in a race last week where they went a good mile like that. This horse here was just ready to go out and go a mile in about 57 and a piece. Here today, a little different conditions, but looks good winning it for connections of Jamieson and Gillis, who have obviously teamed up with some real good horses in the past. A little disappointing to see Dean B. Hanover make that break coming out of the first turn. Very similar to the break that was made in the qualifier before by his stablemate Beachhead. So back to the drawing board though, and from the track record of Casey Coleman's barn, you can expect these ones will come back and be better than ever and be ready to rock, I'm sure, next time out.
And what that goes to show is that, despite the price tag, they're all starting from the same place. And we talked about it off the top today. 6 horses going out today that were all 6-figure yearlings doesn't really guarantee anything. And, even in the case of Marlboro Sealster, we've seen him now 3 consecutive times, a record-priced yearling last fall. He's looked good, but you would expect he'd have a qualifying win under his belt so far through 3. That hasn't been the case, but he's showing progression and heading in the right direction. And you know what? There's no real set timetable for these things. They'll all advance at their own rate. It's been a lot of fun to watch. I'll put you on the spot a little bit. Was there one colt today that impressed you more than the others?
Good question. I would say if we were going to go back to the first qualifier, I really liked what we saw from Highland Beach Best and Captain of Rock and Roll. They finished 1-2, both doing it a little bit different, but both looking really strong. It's 2 weeks in a row now that we've seen good performances from those colts. So looking forward to seeing them under the lights. And then if we go a little later into the morning, I'd have to say Desperate Man in the 9th qualifier. That was probably the best looking performance of the morning. A son of Shadow Play, and he just, again, looked real strong coming through the stretch, and you alluded to it, not looking like a baby out there. He's got that power and strength that I think will sit well. You always get those horses that are just a little bit ahead. It's a maturity thing. It's no different than athletes, right? Somebody, a hockey player at the age of 16 and a hockey player at the age of 18 could be a lot different, but
right.
A lot different than their peers right around them. Same thing with these 2-year-olds. Some are going to be more advanced than others. It's all about that progression. I think Desperate Man, though, is ready to go, and looking forward to seeing him when he gets his opportunity to go under the light. So that was probably 2 or 3 that stood out to me here this morning.
I concur. For me, he was the most impressive. Springbridge Duel from the Casey Coleman Hurley barn. Her high-profile ones, we obviously were keeping an eye on them, but I thought the Big Jim colt, was really impressive in winning today in 56-3, and his back half was in 55-1 to do it. And I get the sense, Mark, you're anxious for hockey to return, not only horse racing, but with your hockey analogy, Mark, of course, a play-by-play guy in the Ontario Hockey League here as well, doing a great job calling the action the last few weeks. It's been a lot of fun, Mark, and looking forward to working with you next Sunday up in Clinton.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Excited to get down to business with some of these stake races throughout our province. But the baby races, it's my favorite time of the year. It's great to see the future stars. And all of a sudden now, in the last couple nights here at Mohawk Park, we've had 3 2-year-old races. And all of a sudden now we've got some new names and some new stars in the sport starting to be created. And that's only going to continue to grow with the Sire Stakes program getting underway here very soon for the rookies. So it's been a lot of fun. Great to track. We're still going to get to see some of these in qualifying action over the next couple of weeks, but it's time to get down to business. Can't wait to see them under the lights, and a pleasure working with you, Greg, and the entire crew.
Excellent. Well, thanks again, Mark. Great job, and looking forward to next Sunday. We want to thank COSA, the Central Ontario Standardbred Association, and the Woodbine Entertainment Group broadcast team for making this coverage possible over the last 3 weeks. It has been a lot of fun, as mentioned, and want to remind you that we have more live event coverage coming up throughout the summer season here in Ontario. Our Facebook Live series is back for 2020 and will be expanded this year. Looking forward to covering several high-profile events around the province. Details on that will be unveiled in the coming days, but to kick it off next Sunday afternoon at Clinton Raceway, it will be this year's final of the Kin Pace as part of the coverage. Want to remind you to visit our YouTube page, the COSA-TV YouTube page. Subscribe today to have access to those live events and other fabulous content on YouTube, and visit us at our website, COSATV.ca, to keep updated on any details of that as well. Another quick reminder of the upcoming Ontario Sire Stakes program. Our first look at the Gold Series this Sunday night at Georgian Downs. To kick off that, the 3-year-old Colt Trotters will be squaring off this Sunday night, and we'll see 3-year-old filly Pacers in the Gold Series here this coming Monday night on June 29th, right here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. I want to thank you again for tuning in the last couple of days, and for all of you who did so and left a comment for us, you're going to be eligible for that draw. Compliments of hoofbid.com, partnering with them once again for this weekend's coverage. They've offered up that wonderful giveaway, a $250 gift card pack, an Amazon.com gift card pack, and thank you to them for that. We'll be drawing that name later on this afternoon. We'll post it online. Good luck to you, and want to remind you while we have a chance that there's another Sunday night auction coming up on hoofbid.com, the revolutionary new way to buy online. You can download the app today at Google Play or the App Store. Check them out at hoofbid.com. So again, thank you so much for joining us over the last 3 weeks, and we want to wish you all the best for the rest of your weekend. We'll see you next time on COSA-TV.
COSA, the Central Ontario Standardbred Association, proudly serving Ontario horse people with integrity and accountability. Collaborative, supportive, helping to ensure a vibrant harness racing industry. Lifetime membership is free and there are many benefits. Become a new member today. COSA, representing the interests of horse people racing at Ontario racetracks. To find out more, visit COSAonline.com.